Hey Riz, good morning. I'm just kind of booting up here, going to grab my other laptop, bring the JD account in and all, but welcome to the stage. Good to see you on this soon morning. You know,
Yo, GM, JD. Nice and amazing to be here. What's good, man?
not too much. You know how it is. We boot this thing up slowly and then it fills up. So this is, everybody gets to hear my slow, sluggish morning start. Which is, it's funny.
All right. Yeah,
Yesterday,
let's
yeah.
keep it going. I just actually wanted to bring it to your notice as well. I was part of the lucky winners in the other space, but I wasn't rewarded. I don't know why.
Oh, okay, that was not intentional. Maybe it might be that you mean Stein's giveaway?
Yes, Stein's giveaway. I sent him my ID, and I don't know why. I wasn't even in the announcement
Hey
tweet
Riz,
as
good
well.
morning. I'm just kind of booting up here, going to grab my other laptop, bring the JD account. Let me check with him. I wrote down everybody who won, oh no, I'm thinking of a different giveaway. Anyway, we won't let you. We'll take care of you if you won. I think he sent me a list of all the addies, and I don't think yours was in it. So for some reason, he might have just missed it. But I'll ask him.
Yeah, you might probably check your DMs. I actually sent you the tweet he made for the winners. My ad is there, and I know you have my address already. I'm still holding so strong. So yeah, let's go.
Oh, you sent the addy to JD or to Soon?
No, soon, yeah, soon.
So I'm in the Soon DMs. Are you talking about X? I don't see it right now. I see you sent me a link to Stein's winners, and I see the, all right. Yeah, it's problem solved. Thanks. I got the addy. You just,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
No,
And I also did a follow up mail. Did you see my mail?
let me take a look at that. I know I owe a bunch of responses to like Alpha Scout applications and just in general the email. So I'm going to look at that today. It's funny. I almost canceled or skipped this morning's space to be able to have time for that, but I thought this is important. So, today I'm definitely going to catch up on anything that's in the email for sure. Kea, welcome to the stage. I'll bring you up. I don't think we've met. Kia or Kea? Nice to meet you. Oh, there's an error adding you as a guest, it says. That's a weird way to say it. Anyway, I'm gonna get the JD account in here now. There's a chance we get to hear from Wenjamin soon. I could bring his account in, but I've started to do some delegate access. So like Wenjamin, the voice actor now has access to the account. So that means that, if the voice actor wants to, he can use it as he sees fit. And so that might mean he's going to pop into these spaces sometimes and talk to us, which would be really cool. And also more importantly, like on our Alpha Scout spaces. But also I've been talking to him about him starting to use the account more naturally as Wenjamin, right? Because I've been doing the posts and the raids and stuff from that account in a certain style. And I got this like really like sort of degen like style. I don't know what it is. It just feels Wenjamin to me the way I've been using it, but his style will be different, right? So that's okay. I think the point is like, I want him to kind of make it his own because he's going to have to like ultimately be the person that is Wenjamin, right? So I want him to, like feel ownership over that like personality and kind of make it his own. So I might end up doing bringing the accounts in, like for example, if I can get my hands on the other laptop when my wife's done with her morning workout thing, then I'll grab that laptop. I'll bring it in here. I'll bring Wenjamin in. But anytime the actual voice actor of Wenjamin wants to use the account, I want him to have it, use it. So it'd be cool. Once in a while, he's got a life, right? Just like all of us. So he's on his way to work or whatever. But once in a while, Wenjamin might just pop up here and start talking, which should be fun. Morning, Sam. Welcome to the stage. You plastering at the moment?
Morning. Yeah, I am just about to mix up. So I'm gonna be gone for about 5 minutes, and then I'll switch it back on.
I bet mixing. I did concrete work once, like not for a long time, but just patching holes in driveways and stuff. And I remember like that mix. I'm guessing mixing plaster is sort of kind of like that.
Well, you kind of it's in a bag like cement is, and then you just mix it with water. So it's pretty simple, but. The drill I've got, I actually need to get a new drill because it's not powerful enough for the size of the bucket that I mix up, so it takes fucking forever. But
All right.
I
Well,
hate spending money on work stuff.
I don't blame you, man. We'll let you go do that. But appreciate having you on stage, and we'll talk in a few minutes. We'll talk soon. It's funny. I hired a guy once to do some electrical work in my house, and I'm pretty good at like doing things myself. I learned that from my father. Like always, if there's anything you do yourself, do it. Don't rely on other people. So we would always do like some of our own electrical work and like a little bit of basic plumbing, like install sinks and toilets and things. But like if I was running pipes through the house, I'd hire a plumber. But so for electrical, one time I had it was actually when COVID happened. It was kind of crazy. So in 2020, some of you are not in the US, and I'm sure it was different in every country. But in the US, what happened was everybody had to put on masks and stay home. And it was like a law, right? It was like literally against the law. Like if you went out without a mask to a store, like the police could arrest you. It's crazy to me. But anyway, that's the police state we live in sometimes. So that was the situation. And for school, all the kids had to do school at home. And that was weird. Like my daughter was her first year of kindergarten, which means it's the first time she was ever going to like go to a classroom with other kids and meet people. And she was so excited, cause when you're a little kid, you think about the day that you're going to go to school, just like the big kids. And, she's excited. She got like this backpack, a book bag to put her books in that was pink and she thought it was pretty or whatever, and she was like imagining getting on this big yellow school bus, which is how the kids get to school in the US, right? And so that's like a symbol. It's like a big rite of passage for a 5-year-old child in America to like go to school. Well, COVID happened. She couldn't go to school. And my 2 older boys were already in school and all had to do school at home too. And I had to do work at home and my wife had to do work at home. So we have a family of 5 and we don't have a giant house and we had to figure out how to all work together. By the way, interestingly, like if any of you are in Nigeria, I've seen on camera a few times like environments like this where you have like a few people in the same house all like working on crypto sometimes. I don't know what that's all about. I'd love to hear more. Like, are these like where people live for home? Or are they like crypto hangouts? I don't know. Maybe somebody could tell me more. I'd love to learn about it. But it was kind of like that. If you've lived in one of those experiences, like a bunch of people in a room doing the same things but like talking and having meetings and like they're in classes with their teacher talking. So they're supposed to be like attentive and listen to their teacher, but they got their siblings next to them. So anyway, it got crazy. So eventually we decided we had to cut our living room into 2 rooms and like make 2 rooms out of it so that we could have separate spaces for each of the family members to study, because this was going to be a long time. So COVID was hard, to kind of like just adjust your life, right? So I had this electrician and this dude brought in a drill like I'd never seen in my life. And that's why you reminded me of this story, Sam. Like the drill he brought in is like, he laughed because he needed a battery for his drill and he had to go to the store. I was like, dude, you can use mine. He laughed at me. I was like, what do you mean? Why are you laughing? He's like, I'm not using that fucking thing. And I was like, well, it's a dual, like it's a nice drill. It's like got the lithium ion battery, it's 24 volts or whatever. He laughed at me and he brought back his like badass drill, like nothing I'd ever seen. With like this giant drill bit that, was probably like 24 inches and thick. And I was just felt like such a dumbass with my stupid little drill after that. Anyway, you got to listen to my drill story. All right. I thought it'd be interesting for this morning's space, and I'm going to repost this now. Y'all should too, if you don't mind. For a little morning. I'm retweeting. If you guys want to, that's great. Appreciate it if you do. Yeah, I thought we'd start this morning off with like a little conversation about what are we waiting for. The whole point of soon was that people are waiting for something. So why not actually talk about the things we're waiting for once in a while? Like, we're going to talk about tech, we're going to have our spotlights, and we're going to talk a lot about the project. But I thought it'd be interesting for people as like human beings to just talk about what they're waiting for. And I don't mind starting, right? I'm JD, you guys know that. I'm going to make JD a co-host so that we can, let's see, maybe do some talking from that account. I don't know why I do this. It just feels like having a co-host gives me security. I do think that if the main host rugs, the co-host doesn't keep the space alive. I'm not totally sure, so it might be kind of pointless. But anyway, all right, what are we waiting for? I did not prepare, by the way, for this. So I need to think too. Like, you guys should think about it and be ready to come up and talk about a thing you're waiting for. So it doesn't have to be about crypto, right? And it can be like fun, but it can be serious too. So I think I'm going to do like, I need a minute to think about this, right? I want to do it right. I guess if I had to say, like, what am I really waiting for? It's probably something like time. Like, if I really think what I want to achieve in life, it's to get to a place where I feel like I have more time. And unfortunately, like, time and money are very intertwined because you got to make money in this world to survive. And if you don't have enough, you have to spend more time to make more money. And I know there are like probably shortcuts, and we all think crypto is one of those. And I believe soon is one of my, solutions to lots of things in life. And one of those is time in two ways. I'm happy at my full-time day job, but there's a chance I would give that up in the future if I was like financially able to, right? I think a lot of us probably feel that way. So that's not to say I don't like my job, but like if I didn't have to make money, I'd probably spend less time there and more time with my family and with my friends. So I feel like I'm waiting for soon to maybe be the solution and get big enough where I can spend that time with them. But it doesn't have to be soon. So the point is, I'm waiting for that. If I had to say, what am I waiting for? It's more time. It's a place in my life where I have more time for my friends and family. And I don't know if that's never going to happen. And I'm waiting for something that's just never going to get here. That's possible. But for me, like, that's what I'm waiting for. So if anybody else wants to talk about something that's close to them that like they're waiting for, I'd love to hear it. What are you waiting for, Sam?
Mine is kind of, well, pretty much related to yours, but yeah, money. Where I'm self-employed, trying to finish a job and, chasing people up for money, it's a pain in the arse.
Got it. So you're like always waiting for money that you're owed.
Yeah, like yeah, quite often finish a job and wait 3 weeks to get paid, and I don't like it.
I can imagine, man. That's rough. My wife used to be a small business owner before COVID killed her business, and it was very common. I remember, like, always to have to chase people to pay you. Pain in the butt, man. That I feel you on that. It's no fun. And so you're in this, like, so mine is like a long term, like, waiting for a thing that might happen in my life, and yours is like problem solved, wait again, problem solved, wait again, problem solved, wait again, I guess.
Yeah, it literally is. There's not many times I'll finish a job and then get paid straight away. It does happen, but not very often.
Interesting. So do people pay you at all up front or nothing? You don't get anything until the job's done.
You can do, but if I had like a big job where I had to pay out a lot of materials up front, I would ask for a deposit. But normally jobs are like £1,000, £2,000 or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to sort of ask for like half up front and then almost look like, I don't know. It's stupid, really. I know I should sort of cover myself and at least get a little bit up front, but yeah, still trying to find the perfect balance, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that because you have to, you can only ask for so much or expect so much from people, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who will be, very, like, put off or reluctant to give you money up front, I would think. Like that, I think I would be. Like, I feel like if it was, I guess it's about the norm, right? Like in the society. Like if I would talk to my friends, I was like, why does this guy ask me for money up front? Like, oh, my carpenter did too. Like, oh, okay, that's normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it is becoming normal. A lot of people I know sort of do that because, again, what is quite normal and happens quite often is, you finish a job and you don't get paid at all. Like that happens more and more regularly, which is obviously crap.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough, man. No fun waiting for money. I'm waiting for like, not like generational life changing money, but more like, um, maybe some like one job solution where like I can. So let me elaborate on mine for a bit, then we'll go to Riz. My wife is in school right now, so there's a decent chance that when she's out of school, I don't have to do as many jobs, right? Like that's the goal for us as a family, and that would be better for all of us in the house because the parents are more present. But right now she's doing a part-time job and she's in school, and I'm also doing my full-time job as well as crypto soon, right? And I was doing a lot of Uber Eats driving at night, but I've stopped doing as much as that to focus on soon. But I still occasionally do that when I have spare time. So like, for me, it's not about like some giant amount of money, although that would obviously solve the problem. It's more about like her finishing school, I guess, is a big thing I'm waiting for. And then when that happens, her making some more money and me being able to like reduce the number of jobs I have to do. So, yeah, I guess now that I think about it, I'm waiting for a very specific time that's probably 6 months away or something like that. So anyway, thanks for letting me reflect on that. Actually, this was very good therapy for me, to be honest, because now like I went from, man, will this ever happen, to I kind of understand the path forward. And so hopefully this helps you a little bit, Sam, too, kind of think about maybe getting some of that money up front. Like honestly, this is just a fun conversation, but maybe some of us can actually solve some of these waiting problems together. Riz, welcome to the stage. What are you waiting for, bro?
Yeah, man. Thank you. I'm back again. Funny enough, this conversation actually aligns with my reality right now. Yeah, because I've got an IRL job that I do. Yeah, that's why you could say, okay, I was on stage and I went back. We just stopped by customers' residents to go and meet a customer. So I just decided to just say my own piece before I go down again on the stage. So I've been waiting for financial stability. I wouldn't lie. And yeah, I actually feel my IRL job wouldn't actually give me that, wouldn't give me what I want. That's why I'm always bullish on Web3, always coming back on Web3 and all DJing, because I feel that's my passion, that's what I love doing. Yeah. So I'm waiting for financial stability, and as well, I think one of the major things that haven't actually even made me left my IRL job is okay. I have been applying for a lot of jobs with a lot of exchanges, and I've done couples of interviews and all. But I am just waiting for just a big win that I could get. And yeah, I know like this would definitely sort my bills throughout the month. And I think that's when I'll definitely leave my IRL job and focus completely on Web3. So yeah, I think that's what I'm waiting for. And I hope, yeah, I hope it happens soonest. Thank you.
I hope it happens too, and I hope that Soon can be part of that somehow, some way. But no matter what, I really hope it happens for you. What are you doing in your IRL job, if you don't mind me asking, before you go to it?
Yeah, man. Okay, actually, I work in a bank. Yeah, I am. I work in a commercial aspect of the bank. So basically, you go and meet the A class citizens to open accounts, and we actually deal with a lot of big figures and all. The pay is actually cool, but that's that's not the type of future that I actually look for myself. I actually want something that I could pass down to my legacy, not working for someone and a morning they tell you you can just leave and all the stuffs. It's quite an interesting experience. I wouldn't like, because I've actually met a lot of people, and I'm full of knowledge about how the banking system operates. I think I've been working in the bank for 3 years now, and I know how the dynamics and all actually goes. Yeah, so that's what I do.
Very cool. Well, it's nice to hear that from you. It's interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting that you're into the finance space too already, and thinking about bonds and things, and then trying to pivot into the DeFi space. I guess that's pretty cool. Love it, love it. Gabriel, welcome. Crazy Coin, welcome. If you guys want to come up, please feel free. Riz, always good to have you, but if you got a jet because you've got to get to IRL work, that's all good. Thanks for showing up as always.
Yeah, man, I'll still be here listening, but I think I'll have to go down off the speaker panel because I'm about to enter a meeting with some of the clients. So nice to be here soon, and yeah, we'll definitely work as much as possible to make soon go high. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, Soon's on a good path, right? Like, I think, our chart is good. It's, like what I don't think we're getting enough of is like engagement from the community, but we're getting like quality engagement, right? Like we're building some really good relationships, and these spaces are really good because the morning ones, right? They're smaller, but I love like just meeting the people and having these conversations. It can be powerful. Um, but the thing that I think is missing is like that people sort of don't recognize that it's everybody's job to just be active and be present. And I know like Telegram is an example of a place where a lot of people just don't want to be. I get it. It's, I don't love Telegram, right? I use it because it's the way that we collaborate a lot in, crypto. I do actually like it more than Discord. I know a lot of people like Discord better. I like Telegram. Like I think it's good actually in many ways, but first of all, I'll say two things. One, people that don't use folders in Telegram are severely handicapped. So if you're listening and you're not using folders, you are a cripple. You are literally like a handicapped person. It's like walking around, like you can't walk, you have a wheelchair, and I'm walking on two legs. So if you're in a wheelchair and you want to be walking on two legs in Telegram, the solution is folders. And I'm sort of making a joke, but I'm not. Like, if you guys don't use folders, this is probably the most important moment of your entire day, week, maybe cycle. I'm not kidding. So, all right. Is anyone here listening and not using folders? Because I'm not going to waste my time talking about it. But if you don't use folders, either speak up or give me a thumbs up emoji and I'll explain it.
I set it up when you were telling Megs about it a few weeks ago.
Okay. It's like life changing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot more, because the amount of spammy messages you get, and I just don't go through them all, and they just build up, and then you lose group chats, and yeah, it is a good thing, but I didn't know was even a possibility.
Most people don't. That's the thing. That's why I talk about it on this stage. Because it's like one of these little hacks that can really, like, I'm not kidding. It's like, depending on how busy you are in crypto, it can truly change your life. Like TG can go from a place that you never want to enter and you're like just petrified to use it to a place where you find comfort and you love it. Like, that's what it did for me. Really, guys, that's what it was. Like, I used to use TG. I'm like, what the fuck? I can only have 5 things pinned or 10 with premium at the top. And like that my whole life is just going to be a disaster outside of 10 things. And there's just no way. Like, this app limits you to only organize 10 things and then you can never organize anything else. Like, that's how it felt. And it's like ridiculous that any application would run itself that way. Right? Like, everything you do in life has some ability for you to have like favorites, folders, bookmarks. And they don't say, sorry, you got 10 and then that's it. This is asinine. So then I found folders. I'm like, okay, there's a solution here. But like the thought that an app is built and it like hides that feature and it like just makes you think you can only have 5 to 10 bookmarks forever. It's like they're asking people to hate it. But anyway, once you learn about it, you're good. Gabriel, I saw your thumbs up. Do it one more time if you actually don't know folders, and I'll quickly explain it. Gabriel, if you need to know folders and you don't know, give me a thumbs up and I'll explain it. But if I don't see a thumbs up, I'm just going to move on because I don't need to talk about folders that much longer. We got on this tangent because I was saying we need to be more active as a community, I think. And that's just about like, some people think I'm asking them to like spend all day in Telegram. And I think that's why people hear this message and they don't act. But what I mean is once a day, open your Telegram, maybe 3 times a day. If you want to be an overachiever. I mean, I do it 1,000 times a day, but for the people that don't do it at all, open it a few times a day, go to the Soon Telegram, drop a sticker, say, hey Soon fam, how's everybody doing? If someone's already talking, just engage with the conversation. Even just a GM moment. But don't just drop it and run away. Like, stay for like 2 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, or like come back every 30 seconds for 2 minutes. And then see if anyone wrote back to you. And if they did, like, have a dialogue with a human being on the other end. It's just that little thing. If everybody took a few minutes every day to do that, we have 300 holders or something. I don't know. I don't keep track of exact number. Like, and between the Soon account has like 1,000 followers almost, and Wenjamin has hundreds, and I have 3,000, whatever, something. Like, between us and the people paying attention to this project, right? Like, there should be more people just occasionally popping in, talking to each other. And that alone just makes a big difference. When people show up and they're like, oh, what's this project about? And they just see like Sam in there going, come on guys, one more like. It's so different than one person going, I got you, Sam, smashed. You know what I mean? Like, that one little thing just shows bullishness. It shows engagement. And the truth is, we get a lot of engagement on X for a relatively early project. Like, Wenjamin's doing good, Soon's doing good, our chart's good, our holders are here, they're buying, our scout team's growing. I got a ton of applications for Alpha Scouts. Wenjamin's voice, right? The animators are cooking, like we go to spaces and when I shill it, everybody loves it. So there's like, all the right things are happening. The one thing that's not happening is the same problem every single project has, which is lazy motherfucking LARPs who just hold the bag and wait for others to solve the problem. And the reality is, we're not all gonna save your bag. Like, that's not my plan. I'll be straight with you guys. Like, I'm not here to make you money. I'm here to build a business. And that business can make a lot of money or a little money. And it depends on how we all operate it. Why is that pressure on all of, I'll say you, but you're not the ones I should be talking to, right? It's the overall community. That pressure's on everybody because of the decentralized ownership of Soon, right? So that's just the truth. When you have a significant share of ownership of a company, you have an inherent like accountability and responsibility to make it succeed, or you should expect a bad result. I say that because if you have a significant ownership, right, that's how you should think about it. Like if you bought into a public company and you had a 3% share or a 1% share, if you owned 1% of Netflix, you better be at the shareholder meetings, right? Like you're practically a board member at that point. So if you own 1% of Soon, like you definitely should be really active. And I know like a lot of us don't own that much Soon, right? So if you own like $5 of Soon, I don't sit here and say like, man, you have a responsibility to do more. No, you can, and I'd love you to, because $5 could turn into a lot more money. But I don't expect like a small investor who's like thinks of Soon as just like one random like gamble to engage and push a lot with us. But we have enough like decent bag holders that I think those top holders should just be showing up a little bit more. And some of them are, by the way. Like I know some of the whales, and I'm really happy that I know them. I had to chase down, like through a lot of wallet chasing to figure out who the guy was. And then I did. I got him, and we talked, and I'm really happy that I know who it is. So I can tell you right now, I have a lot of confidence in our floor because I know a lot of the people holding it. Some of them just disclose their stuff to me, but it's a really good floor. But I also know that like there are people I haven't identified. So the ones I've identified, like they are contributing and they're doing things that I won't reveal too much because then it might reveal some of their identities. But they're all doing like significant things for the project. But then there are some that I don't know. And those holders just are too silent. So I just want to see everybody like show up a little bit more with a little positivity in the Telegram. Maybe noties on for Wenjamin and the Soon account, or at least just following and like, you know, like I said, a couple times a day, right? There are people that will spend a ton of time in Telegram and on X and all that, but most people just aren't going to do that, and that's all good. I just recommend a couple times a day, check in, smash whatever raid's going on, say hi to your family, your Soon people. You know, I want us to be a family that supports each other. That's why we did what we did today, right? Just to talk about what you're waiting for. It's not about Soon business. It's about us just getting to know each other and having a good dialogue. And like I said, the occasional drop in the Telegram, pay attention to the X, goes a long way just to show strength. But like I said, don't feel pressure to do it all the time. It's not for everybody. It's for some people. Some people love it. And, you know, right now there's dialogue in there between, I guess, me and Sam about like Moby and Cypher. Soul Cypher's cool tech. I was thinking more about like the fact there's no reason we shouldn't talk about tech in the Telegram. Welcome Frog to the stage. Like in the Telegram, we should absolutely feel comfortable talking about the stuff that's on the ship list. I don't know why it never happened, but I love that you did that, Sam, today, because it makes so much sense. Now, the ship list originally was created by people who aren't really the right people to build the ship list. And if you don't know what I mean by ship list, I'll throw it on the Jumbotron now. But the soon ship list is what we look at to track the projects that we believe in. And originally we made this list based on, input from people that were not Alpha Scouts, because we didn't have an Alpha Scout team at that point. But now that we do, I'm asking the Alpha Scout team to revise the ship list so that we can actually like have a ship list we believe in. So if you look at the ship list right now, and I'm looking for it, and I will drop it up in the Jumbotron. But in the ship list right now, it's like some stuff that we started to talk about at the beginning. We were looking at them, but I honestly just populated it because we needed to get it moving. And some of the stuff that's in there really just isn't ideal. It's like, like Soul Flare, for example, is in there, right? I don't have a problem with Soul Flare, but at the same time, I'm not here to say like Soul Flare is so important. It's the best wallet ever, whatever. I don't know. It's a good wallet. It works. But anyway, there's the ship list right now. Like I said, it's got some stuff in there that's left over from me just making it up at the beginning. But some of those are projects I really believe in. We put our heart into it a little bit, but now that we have Alpha Scouts, I want them to review the list and really curate it so that we believe in it. And once that's done, and I'm talking just, I don't know, a couple days from now, once the Alpha Scouts take the time to review it, then I want us to like in the Telegram really talk about it. Like, if you guys love some of the projects on this ship list and you pay attention to them, even if you're not an Alpha Scout, nothing wrong with just using our Telegram chat as a place to talk about the tech, because that's the whole point of this project, right? So why not have that just be freely, happening in our TG in between all the posts and the spotlights spaces?
Yeah, I think when them spotlight spaces happen, it will naturally sort of encourage talk in there, because people, that want to invest in the project that's been highlighted will want to know more, more things about it. So yeah, and back to your point about engagement in TG and stuff, I 100% agree with you. But I just also, want to say how far that we have come already. It's obviously I've been in it pretty much from the beginning, so you're doing a great job, and I think naturally it will all come together. We're getting more and more engagement in the spaces every time they're happening. But yeah, I get your frustration about the Telegram, but there's plenty to be bullish about.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. And it's not even like frustration as much as just an opportunity. I mean, that's how I see it. I don't. It's not frustration. Sorry, my previous rant about how I think people should be more engaged. Yes, I mean, and it's not even just for those who just joined. I'm just saying, like, everybody who holds this bag probably should. If you have a decent share, you should show up like once a day in the Telegram and pop in and say hello. Maybe just say, how's everybody doing? Maybe engage if there's a conversation there. Wenjamin's voice is on video for the first time, and some significant people that have been prominent in this community still haven't engaged with that at all. So it's just like stuff like that. Like when we have these, significant, posts from Wenjamin and from Soon, I'd like to see more of the Soon community engaging with those. And then like once or twice a day, pop into the Telegram and just check in. We do the pinned raid reviews. I do that to make it easy on people. So in our Telegram, unlike every single Telegram I've ever seen, you can go to a pinned message and there's a raid review. So you can just look through the links and you can like smash the raids that you missed if that's your thing. Again, I'm not trying to pressure everybody to do raids, but just there's a thing in the Telegram that everybody should and could do, which is like, hey, hello. And if you want to do a little bit more than that, great. But it's just about getting to know each other. And I think, the point about discussing the tech is a much better reason to be there, right? Like unfortunately, crypto is largely like an attention economy. And I say unfortunately because it's not just crypto, right? It's the whole world. Like the stupid things my kids want are because like somebody else has them half the time. It's not because they're useful or valuable or important. So, this idea that like people just want stuff that's popular in life is not just a Web3 thing. So popularity matters, and that's why attention matters. So like when people go to a Telegram and it looks dead, they're like, I don't like this project. And ours isn't dead, by the way, guys. I'm not really complaining. Like we have activity, but I think it should be a lot more. But I hate that like people feel pressure to do it just to do it for the sake of the project. I've seen that in a lot of projects before, and I think that's the worst way. I think the best way is that there's an engaging reason for people to be there and enjoy it. So first of all, back to folders. If anyone here does not use folders in their Telegram, please throw any emoji right now because you all need to know this. It is life-changing. If you use Telegram and you don't have your channels and groups organized in folders, please put up an emoji. I promise I can change your life in 30 seconds. Okay. Everybody here uses folders, or you're ignoring me, which is cool. Still appreciate the PFP. But yeah, I think if we can start using the ship list as a thing to talk about in the Telegram, then absolutely that's going to make it worth being there. And yes, I see your claps and your hearts the game. I'm going to guess maybe you wanted me to change your life with Telegram folders. If not, maybe you're just hyping this space up, and I appreciate it. But let me give you 30 seconds, guys. So in Telegram, I'm going to give you the mobile and desktop way. I actually do it on mobile more, but I know on desktop it's not that hard. So you go to settings, and folders. If you're on desktop, it's literally that easy. You go to settings, you go to folders, and then you can create new folders. And when you create these, and on mobile, let me just double check, it's not that different. On mobile, you go to settings, and I think it's called chat folders. So slightly different. Why do dumb developers call it chat folders on mobile and folders on desktop? Just because of complexity of companies not having people that talk to each other. It's just a Web 2 problem. Anyway, so once you're there, you create these folders. And they literally can save your life in Telegram. Because you can have, like, for example, I have my DMs in one folder. I used to miss all my DMs. But now once I like, care about you, right? Like we're friends. We talk to each other a lot. I put you in my DM folder. And then every single day I look at my DMs and I'm able to find the people that I care about every day right away, right? And talk to them quickly and easily. Then I have a folder called services. So for me, that's like, different things like screeners, like for example, like Dexscreener, Dex tools and all that stuff is in there. Any bots I use, right? Like all my like Farina support, my Soul Cipher, like my Trojan bot, like those to me are like services. I don't know, that works for me. Then I have one called top bags. So I have like maybe 10, bags or projects, crypto, things that I've invested in, right? And so I have those in my top bags folder. So I can look there right away and just quickly glance at, how are they doing? Toilet is one of them, right? I'll just give you an example. I happen to like Toilet a lot. It's a meme on Sui. I'm not trying to shill it. I just met some really great people there. Like I love their vibe. I love what they're building. I think the art's cool. There's some drama around that place, but like I don't mind that either. It's kind of cool. Like it's a great vibe. I love the community. I aped it pretty big and I added liquidity, to the LP. And I just think it has a really good chance to run with Sui, but I'm not here to shill it. Point is, that's just an example of a thing. Like Banana Tape Wall, like we'll never leave my top bags folder. I don't care if it goes to 0. Fucking love it. And I hope somebody starts taping a bunch of bananas and I'll tape more too, but I'm not going to run it. I'm running soon. I am an admin. If anyone wants to CTO, BTW, it's not really up for CTO, but like somebody could run it up. I'd be glad to help provide some of the keys. But anyway, the point is I have top bags, right? I have a folder of them. So then I have Soon. Like Soon is so important to me that I probably have, obviously I'm the dev, right? I probably have 10 or 12 chat groups and channels like within the Soon folder. I have Alpha Scout. I'll tell you right now, right? It's might be kind of interesting, I don't know, or boring, but I'll tell you what I have. I have a channel for our TikTok where me and Crypto Guy collaborate on TikTok strategy and content. I have the budget committee, right? We have a separate group for the budget committee to meet and plan compensation plans and like distribution of budgets and giveaways, and we have multi-sig wallets that need signatures, so those people talk there. We have an animation chat, right? So that's for animations with the animators. This one's interesting. I actually have 2 different animators in different chats, and I keep thinking about combining that, but it's just been working better this way. They don't get distracted by each other because they're all working on independent projects. So that's been, helpful and helps me organize. And then I have a website development chat for Soon, right? So we got the website development team, which is really one guy, but he's amazing. And he's in there with me, and Sam's in there, and we talk about the website. And then Alpha Scouts. Obviously, we have the Alpha Scout group, and that's many topics. We got DeFi and whatever, RWA, etc. But we also have our general chat in there. So for me, like, I hit the Soon folder right away when I wake up, but I'm like, what's going on with Soon? And I can see it all in one place. So anyway, I hope you guys found this helpful. If you don't use folders already, I promise they will be really, really helpful for you. Just create some folders and you'll eventually figure out the right structure for yourself. All right. The topic of the space is, what are you waiting for? Right now, my daughter is waiting for me to give her a hug so she can feel good about herself and the rest of her day. So it's really important that daddy goes and gives daughter a hug right now. I'm going to do that. But I'd love to come back and hear what someone's waiting for. So Sam, if you don't mind taking the lead for a bit, I'll be right back. But, if anybody else wants to just talk about something they're waiting for, that'd be cool. We've been opening up a little bit about just things in life that we're waiting for, and it's different for everyone. And I think that's an interesting way to kind of, talk about the Soon brand, bring it into our day a little bit, and meet each other. And I will be right back. If you guys can't hang through silence and no one wants to talk, then that's fine with me. I will come back to an empty room. But for those who don't know me, I'm JD. Love you all, but no offense, love my daughter a little bit more, so I'll be right back.
Morning, Frog. Are you there?
Yay. I'm a bit stoned, and it's 5 a.m. here, but I'm alive.
Ah, nice. Yeah, it was nice. I don't know if you covered it in the space yesterday. I mean, I was here, but I'm working in the day, so I might have missed it, but it was good to hear you and, what you were talking about yesterday. I don't know if you covered it with JD, but where did you find Soon?
Oh, fair question. I mean, I just space hop when I'm really in need of human contact, let's say. So I just type crypto into the spaces bar, and I think that's what prompted it to come up. Yeah, so that's kind of how I got in here. But the conversation was good, so I stuck around. I mean, I won't stay in a room for very long if it's like what would you call the opposite of alpha, Sam? What would the word be for that? Because that's what a lot of Twitter spaces are. They're just the opposite. Bro, we need a word for that. What's the opposite of alpha?
Dog shit.
Well, yeah, I guess that works. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it was good to sort of hear, I'm learning a lot through sort of JD, and I actually met him through another project where I kind of was part of the problem that sort of he's discussing about just sitting silent and watching other people work from a bag. And then I saw it bleed into down and down and down. And then that's, funnily enough, how I met JD. I sort of started chatting to him, saw what he was doing, and, thought, well, he was a very well respected person in that community. So I thought, why not give it a go? And sort of that's how I've ended up with him and Soon. So yeah, it's nice to jump in spaces and meet new people. That's for sure.
Yeah, I remember back in, were you here in 2020?
I was not. No. No, I have been around crypto, mainly watching my mates get rich, really.
Yeah, I mean, in 2020, like, the alpha in spaces was just so good. So there's like a combination of factors, right? Like, one, people who were in crypto in 2020, like, they really liked it, right? There were not a lot of normies floating around. Like, you got them, but they weren't really there. And it was a lot, I think, because there was less people, like, it was more everyone knew each other kind of thing. And so you could, like, weed out fraudulent actors or people that were full of crap back then. But again, just to the point that whoever was in spaces usually had some decent knowledge. I remember I had a buddy, I think his name was like Warren Dullard or something is his Twitter. I don't remember anymore. But I literally jumped in a space with him one night, and in like 10 minutes, I went from not knowing about something to buying something and then selling it like a week later. So he goes, yo, Frog, you're aware of layer 2s, right? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, the problem with bridging though, right? Gas fee and all. I'm like, sure. And he's like, have you heard of Umber token? I don't even know if this token still exists, by the way. This was years ago. He goes, do you know what Umber token is? I go, no. He goes, well, it circumvents the need to use a contract to migrate to an L2 by having funds on the L2 ready for you already. And so it takes your funds on L1 and just automatically awards you them on L2, skipping the bridge contract fee. And I was like, that's brilliant. What's the contract? He just sends me and I buy it and I sell it for like a 5x the next day. Like, that's how good it used to be, right? But I think these days it's just, and this just relates to what you asked me, like, how did I wind up here, right? Like, I try to stay out of the social media aspect now just because I feel like it's so saturated with voices that it's hard to figure out what to listen to now.
Hey, I'm back and glad to hear people talking. I didn't come back to silence. I love it. And yeah, I heard the tail end of that conversation. It's 100% true. And yes, I'm going to bring it back to soon because it's just too easy. That's what we're here for. We're here to cut through the noise. It's chaotic. It's gotten insane. Like, and part of it, I will say part of it, at least in the meme coin space now, has been driven by AI. Because it's gotten so, and technology in general, but AI is a big piece of it. It's gotten so easy to create coins and create art that anybody can do it. A year ago, it's not that long ago, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, time flies. I remember when, like, no one with a decent head on their shoulders would buy any token if they didn't have a real artist that was hand drawing stuff. Like, if you just had, or you had like a really funny meme, right? But like you had like creativity and art involved. And now it's gotten to the point where it's just so easy to spin up tokens. Pump Fund was a piece of it. AI art is a piece of it. I guess there are other reasons that, it's happened. I mean, Solana just got so fast and so cheap that makes it easy. ETH is even faster and cheaper now. So like there's more and more of these honeypot bullshits on ETH. But I think it's just gotten so easy to, quote, be a dev and create a token and then create art. And I think that's part of the reason that like the meme coin space at least has gotten so overly complicated and like oversaturated by garbage. So Soon's job is really to help cut through that, and not just for meme coins, right? But even for tech. I mean, it's gotten so easy to create a website that I've been fooled so many times, right? By looking at this website that just feels so polished. Like clearly these guys have a business plan and it's just a shell and there's no tech. And now I know, like, check the tech. But, so much of this space has gotten there, and that's why we need Soon. And that's actually the problem we're here to solve, is to like cut through that and give people some of the information that they need to find the good projects. And that's why when like people say to me, you know, a lot of people at Frog, we talked about this too, I think. A lot of people say like, you know, they want to understand that they want us to be calling like early alpha. I'm supportive of that, but at the same time, like, this is about featuring the good projects more than it is about giving people like early alpha, like CAs. And I know we had a lengthy conversation, Frog, and I know you're not just about the ECAs, but I'm just trying to say our job is to find the good stuff that's being built and then show it to people in a space that's gotten just oversaturated with fakery and bullshit.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of that now. I mean, by the way, if you have any early contracts, I'll take them. But yeah, I think. Sorry, again, I smoked like a lot of weed earlier. I think part of the problem too, and maybe this is a bit esoteric. Forgive me if it is that people. I'm going to say something unfavorable here. People don't really know how blockchains work, right? I'll make an analogy. I don't know how a car works. Like, I really don't. Something about an engine, something about pistons, something about explosive compression, and all that in a bag of chips, right? But I don't know the first thing about cars, right? Like, I can't even change my own oil. And yet I drive one every day, right? And so you have a similar kind of thing here where it's like, well, I use crypto every day. I have my wallet, I click these buttons, I do stuff. But they don't actually understand what they're doing, right? Now, why did I bring this up? Well, you can't evaluate, like, a lot of projects if they can just use fancy buzzwords and make claims that you can't verify or deny, because it, like, requires that sort of under the hood knowledge, even basic knowledge, right? So, like, just going back to the car, if you told me it was a V6 engine, I would just have to believe you, because if I popped the hood, I don't even know where to look for a V4 versus a V6, right? All I know is that more pistons equal more horsepower, but I don't actually know how to look for it. And so, like, you'll have people say things like, oh, my blockchain's faster, oh, my blockchain's better, it resolves this, blah, 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 right? And I think it's just easy for the average person now to get roped into that. I mean, it's 12 years later. If you go to like a Bitcoin versus any altcoin space, right? Take your pick, ETH, XRP, Litecoin, whatever it is, right? You're going to hear the same talking points over and over and over. Stuff. It's too slow. It's not fast enough. Blah, 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 right? Like, but they're never going to be able to actually, have the conversation.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make. First of all, I like Stone Frog. Very articulate, actually. You might not feel that way. But yeah, it was a very good point you make. I think, first of all, I'm not a mechanic, but I'm a DIY guy since I was a kid. So if you want to know how many cylinders in your car, when you open the hood, nowadays, if you have a fancy enough car, it doesn't matter because you got lots of money. And you're going to have this like big piece of plastic over your engine that probably masks it, hides it. You can pull that piece of plastic off if you want. But if you're that rich, you just don't care. You just believe the numbers. But if you actually have a car that's a little bit older and you can see your engine, cylinders have to have this like contour to them. So on the motor block, it kind of looks like these little pipes, like a half pipe popping up. And you can kind of watch them, and they're curved a little. And that's where the gas flows. So you can see 4 of them or 6 of them or 8 of them. When there's 8, they're often going out like symmetrically, 2 directions, 4 on each side. Anyway, when they're 4, they're kind of straight, and when they're 6, they're a little bit curvier, but usually all together. So anyway, I'm not even like a mechanic. I just know shit because I grew up in a time where you had to figure shit out yourself because we didn't have the internet. But anyway,
Can I actually do the same thing that you just did, but with blockchain? You want to see something cool?
So yes, but I think it would be interesting for me to try first and go like, here's like my dumb understanding, and you tell me where I'm dumb. Would that be like funny and good, or you want to just do it?
Let's do it. Why not? Why not?
All right. So first of all, Habibi, welcome to the stage. Frog and I are having some fun here, but if you had something significant you wanted to add or ask, I don't want to like be inconsiderate of your time. So if you only have a few minutes with us, let's hear from you first, and then we'll get back to our how blockchain works.
Yo, hello guys.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to say hi to everyone, and I wanted to say I'm a big fan of your work soon. I saw you speak on the Wednesday Chill and Chill Sports yesterday, and I was blown. So I said I'd follow you and be a good supporter of your work.
Well, thank you. It's our work, right? I mean, look, I take pride in this project and I contribute a lot, and it was largely my idea, but it was a group of people who came up with it. So I don't want to take all the credit, but thank you. And, yeah, I think we're building something really cool.
Okay, that's it.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining. Feel free to stay on stage. I will tell you what I know about how blockchains work. Generally, I feel like I'm already failing. What I was gonna say.
Let me say this soon.
No, let me.
Wait. There's two separate skills. Understanding it and articulating it are very different skills. So I don't feel too pressured to say it like perfectly.
All right, that's fair. So here's the deal. A blockchain is a boatload of zeros and ones that somehow create some standard set of blocks that are like cryptographically encrypted in a way that you can't really access the data store inside that little block. And I know data store isn't quite the right word, but there are these puzzles that you have to solve. But they're not like human native like puzzles that you can solve. They're like these gigantic complex puzzles that have crazy amounts of pieces that human brains could never contemplate. And with really powerful computers, you can solve those puzzles. And if you have enough puzzles solved, then you can start to unlock some of those blocks. And that is how a proof of work blockchain works. But I guess I'm not even touching on proof of stake, and I'm probably not even doing it justice, but that's, I guess, where I would start.
How brutal you want me to be soon?
You can rip Soon apart, just don't talk about JD, like, cause that's not me at all. I'm not JD. No, man, I get it. Like, I'm very willing to be humble always, and if I'm very wrong, like, rip me apart and make fun of me, and that's fine.
I mean, you had a couple misnomers there. And yeah, it was good that you specifically pointed out you're talking about proof of stake. Blockchain's one of those words that, it's truly kind of used very liberally, right? Like, we have a lot of words in society now that they just mean different things to different people. So, sorry, I just ripped a bonglo. Let's see if I can do this. But, yeah.
Sorry, no, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I have to interrupt you because the fact that Stoned Frog is better at this than perfectly sober JD is very embarrassing, but that's okay. Let's keep going.
Well, I mean, I haven't actually. I mean, maybe I'll fail catastrophically, right? Look, I would say, so when I give speeches about this kind of stuff, I start by saying this: okay, you don't need to know what a computer is to know what a blockchain is, right? That's not actually something you would need to know. Blockchains are three things. I mean, you could get
more into the weeds, right? But there are three things, and most people know two of them, okay? They're decentralized public ledgers, right? So they know what public is. They know what ledgers are. I mean, if they balance a checkbook, they know what a ledger is, right? The question becomes, what is the decentralized aspect of what a blockchain is, right? That's the word that they usually use, but they don't understand. And the decentralized part of a blockchain pertains to how anyone can join into the consensus mechanism of said chain, right? Now, most people think of mining, and we are talking about proof of work, as quote unquote looking for Bitcoin, right? They're trying to get some Bitcoin. They're trying to mine some Bitcoin. But being rewarded in Bitcoin is a byproduct of what you're actually doing, right? Which is participating in the consensus mechanism of said blockchains. Let me break that down. If a blockchain's a ledger and it's public, you have an immediate problem, right? Well, whose version of it is actually correct, right? If it's a ledger and it's public, well, what happens if I make another public one that has a different accounting of the assets on that ledger than yours, right? Who's to say which one is correct? So now you have a genuine problem. Well, the way banks and central authorities solve this is by just being in charge of it, right? If they say it's correct, it's correct. Although we know how that went in 2008, right? So the way you come to consensus about which version of the ledger is correct is by having people allocate their real life time and energy to continuing a specific version of the ledger. So I'll kind of smoothen that. If everyone is trying to add pages, right? Because ledgers are books, books have pages, pages come one after the other. Blockchains are ledgers. They have blocks instead of pages, and blocks come one after the other, just like pages come one after the other. You can only write so much on one page before you have to start a new page. And you can only put so much information in one block before you need a new block, right? So whatever version of the ledger everyone is trying to add a block, aka a page to, must be the correct version of the ledger. Now, most people just call that mining, right? I'm looking for Bitcoin. I'm trying to mine some Bitcoin. Well, getting Bitcoin is a reward for what they're actually doing, which is participating in that consensus mechanism by looking on the same version of the ledger as everyone else, right? Now, the one misnomer I would say that you bumped up against, right, is most people do think like, oh, there's this complicated puzzle and you know, we're all trying to solve it. And if you just need these supercomputers to solve the puzzle and then, you know, then you get the Bitcoin. Well, it's not really true, right? So what you're actually trying to do is guess the nonce value for a hash, right? So it's more like the Powerball than it is like solving an equation, right? We're all trying to guess this number. If you guess the number, you win the Powerball, or in this case, you get the block reward for that block, right? But then most people immediately assume, oh, so it's like a battering ram, right? If we just guess enough times, someone eventually is going to get the number right, and we can just kind of brute force it down. Well, this is not actually correct either, as every time somebody incorrectly guesses the nonce value of the block hash, the nonce itself resets, right? So instead of the Powerball, which is we all make a bunch of guesses, and if nobody's right the next week, there's a new Powerball number. It's every time somebody guesses the Powerball number wrong, the Powerball number resets, right? And you can look at the mathematics behind it, but to keep it simple, right? You know how Bitcoin only has a new block every 10 minutes, right? You've heard this, yes? That's because the more guesses that are made, the harder it becomes to guess the number. The less guesses that are made, the easier it becomes to find that number, right? The nonce value. And so the algorithm makes it so that adjusting for more and less guesses, it always takes roughly 10 minutes for that guess to happen. In fact, you've heard the term hash before, like the Bitcoin network just hit a zettahash, right? You've heard this, yes?
Yes, of course.
So one hash is one guess. A kilohash is 1,000 guesses. A megahash is 1,000,000 guesses. A gigahash is 1,000,000,000 guesses, and you just go up the list, right? So if you look at the Bitcoin network, it says, oh, we're at a zettahash. It's I can't actually do the numbers with the zero, but it's that many guesses per second towards the nonce value, which resets every time there's a wrong guess. And because the more guesses makes it harder and less guesses makes it easier, it always works out to roughly 10 minutes. And the algorithm, I think, is called Komoto's gravity well, right? And that's a pretty standard proof of work formula. But now, you want to see something cool? Want me to blow your blockchain mind?
Sure, man. I have reactions to some of this, but great stuff. Keep going.
Okay, so let's make a real quick proof of stake breakdown. Okay, proof of stake is different. Instead of miners, they're validators. Validators, in theory, have an equal chance of solving their version of a block nonce, right? So on Tezos,
Sorry,
a
wait.
validator.
Can we stay with proof of work because you talked so much about it, and I feel like
Yeah, we can. Yeah, that's fine.
I think we should. It naturally leads me to asking about and thinking about proof of stake. But first, yeah, let's just not overwhelm everybody.
Oh no, this isn't educational about proof of stake. I'm going to blow your blockchain mind. I'm going to show you something under the hood, and it's going to change your whole view of the ecosystem.
All right, I'll let you keep going as long as everybody's cool with that. I'm cool with that because I love it. And yeah,
Right, everybody should follow along with this next part.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so in theory, proof of stake is just every validator has an equal chance of solving their version of the block nonce, right? If there's 1,000 validators and you're one of them, you have a 1 in 1,000 chance of solving the proof of stake version of a block nonce, thus getting the reward, right? On Tezos, validators are known as bakers. You need something like 8,000 Tezos to be a baker, right? Cardano has pooled proof of stake validators and blah, 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 right? So we all understand the idea that proof of stake is you take some of the token, you lock up enough of it, you become a validator, and then you have a 1 over total number equal validator chance of solving their version of the block nonce and getting paid, right? We all understand? Check this out. You know that website Etherscan soon? Why don't you pull up Etherscan right now, and let's take a look at the front page of Etherscan, right? Okay, so on the front page, you notice that thing called the latest blocks? You see that?
I'm actually on a phone, so I'm going back and forth. But yeah, I do.
If you're on the phone, Etherscan is its latest blocks is just a slight scroll down from the very top of the front page.
Yeah,
Okay, now
I'm already there. But everybody else, if you're following along, go to Etherscan. I assume you know how to find it. The web address is etherscan.io, and then scroll down a little. If you're on mobile, look for latest blocks. We're with you. Go ahead, Rob.
Do you notice anything about who's solving those blocks?
Titan Builder, that you?
Well, no, I wish. So there's Titan Builder. Anybody else?
Let's see who else.
BuilderNet.
Yeah, BuilderNet. Hey, what's up, DeFi? Todd.
So I'm sorry.
No, welcome.
So you would think, right? You would think that with all the Ethereum validators out there, that you'd be seeing very random names and addresses, right? Because they each have a 1 over total number validator chance. What do you actually see?
Well, you see that it's a little less decentralized than you might think.
Now, if you were to click Titan Builder or Beaver Builder's address, how many fees from Ethereum transactions do you think you're going to see pour in per day? Why are we seeing that all blocks on ETH mainnet are solved by the same 65, probably a little less at this point, same 65 addresses. Why are 65 addresses sucking up 99% of all Ethereum block fees?
I don't know.
The original team.
I mean, I could give the long-winded answer, but again, just does something seem not quite right here? I thought proof-of-stake validators had an equal chance to every other validator of solving the block and getting the block reward. But we're not seeing that. What we're seeing, and by the way, click one of their addresses, like click Beaverbuild, and just look how much Ethereum they've attained in the last 24 hours. You can
So
watch them make
I feel like
gorillions.
I feel like we skipped a fundamental piece of the proof of stake approach that I wanted to talk about a little bit and understand better first. So yeah, I love this piece of it, but I think we've talked so much about how proof of work works, and we sort of skipped that with proof of stake. So let me chime in on what I mean. With this is what I don't understand personally. The only validator role I've ever had, I guess, is on Celestia, because it's so easy, right? Like I use Lumina, set up a light node. I don't really know what the hell it's doing. I do understand Celestia a lot in terms of like its modularity approach. Not a lot like some people do, but I get a pretty general understanding of it. So I like it. I like the concept, but I don't actually know that just by like setting up that little light node that I'm actually doing anything. And I don't really know how like I would access a block. And I know we're talking Celestia, it's very different, but on the ETH side, I don't really know, like, yes, I'm a validator. I have a pile of ETH tokens, and it's my job to somehow say, hey, this is valid. And, you know, this transaction's valid, right? Like I'm doing a thing to like make it legitimized. I don't really know how that works. So like, can you talk about that a little bit? Does my question make sense?
Yeah, no, good question. And I don't really know anything about Celestia, right? Because in the crypto ecosystem, proof of stake, proof of work, those are the main boys. But like now we have every kind of conceivable proof of something, right? So I don't know where Celestia falls in that. Now, here's the thing, right? When you talk about proof of work, guessing a block nonce is difficult because, as we kind of went over, right, like the number of guesses makes the actual number harder to guess. But and by the way, this is done to prevent a 51% attack, right? Like the whole point of a proof of work mining network is to prevent against a fraudulent version of the ledger coming around, which could really only happen if 51% of the miners, right, kind of jumped ship or were controlled by one entity. Now, the reason I mention this is proof of stake solves this kind of a different way. Your proof of stake solves it by, instead of putting your real life time and energy into becoming part of the consensus mechanism, you have to lock up tokens to be part of that consensus mechanism, which is another form of putting your money where your mouth is, right? Allocating your real life time and energy, or in this case, money, to participating in that system. Now, if we go back to proof of work, why it matters is that performing a 51% attack against Bitcoin would require you to do the following. First, you'd have to buy like $1 gorillion in miners, you know, just an absurd amount of mining power, billions and billions and billions of dollars worth. Then you'd have to plug them all in. Good luck with that. Then you'd have to find a block, which you would do pretty quick, right? Because you find 51% of all blocks because you're 51% of the mining capacity. Then instead of relaying that block to the network, you'd have to withhold it. Someone else would find it, or find one, I guess you could say, and then you could repost your 51% block find to the network and it would override their block, which basically means you could replace a block. So why does that matter? I'll tie this back to proof of stake. Here's why it matters. You give me a car soon, and I give you a Bitcoin. and then I drive away into the sunset. I have your car, you have my Bitcoin. Well, if somebody replaces the block that I paid you in, you don't have a Bitcoin, and I still have your car. This would be catastrophically bad for Bitcoin's future because there would be no precedence to say it was safe anymore. But notice, to do this, I would have to cut my nose to spite my face because the $3, $4, $10 billion worth of miners that I bought, ASIC miners, application-specific integrated circuitry miners, meaning they only do one thing and one thing only, which is pump out SHA-256 algorithm power for Bitcoin network, would become useless hunks of metals. To destroy Bitcoin, you have to destroy your own personal finances. Now, proof of stake, to go back, is sort of similar, right? If I want 51% of all Ethereum miners, or validators, I guess you could say, I would have to spend quite a lot of money on Ethereum itself, and then I'd have to destroy the investment that I just put all my money in. So proof of stake isn't really the same kind of game. It doesn't ensure, I mean, and I'm speaking quite liberally here, but it doesn't ensure safety by making the guess very hard and thus requiring huge amounts of electricity and ASIC miners. It requires a ton of money to be put up and locked, right? And so it requires you to buy a lot of the asset you're planning to destroy, and that's how it prevents against 51% attacks, right? So your question is like, well, how does proof of stake sort of validate the block? Well, it just kind of does it, right? It's not really as, I guess I'll say, computationally difficult. It's just financially difficult. It's not using algorithmic hash power to figure out nonce value. It's just using, I mean, I could get really into the weeds, but the short version is, it's not as complex. It's just 1 over total number validator chance of, quote, solving block nonce. Does that make sense?
It does. It's kind of like, if I think about it at a real high level, I'll just say Bitcoin and ETH, because I feel like those are the classic examples of proof of stake and proof of work side by side. So with Bitcoin, a proof of work mechanism is involved, and with that, I totally understand and appreciate that the computational power and investment is big, and that if one were to try to capitalize too much, they would break the system, because ultimately the power of Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin, comes from the fact that you have to make this incredible investment, and lots of independent people do it, and it breaks if someone tries too hard to monopolize it.
Not exactly, right? Because,
well, go ahead.
Well, because plenty of mining companies have the majority share of the hash power, right? It's that what it is to destroy Bitcoin is to destroy your finances in the process. The way it prevents its own destruction, and this would have been a lot easier to destroy Bitcoin when it was $100 and there, you didn't have to buy $20 billion worth of miners to do it, right? But now, like I said, just to begin the process of successfully 51%ing attack the Bitcoin network, you would have to buy 51% of all mining power on Earth, right? And the Bitcoin miners, which are ASIC, application-specific integrated circuitry miners, become useless hunks of metal in a world where Bitcoin has no existence, right? They're not computers. They can't be repurposed for something else.
Yeah, the driver for that behavior would have to be malicious. It would have to be that you hate Bitcoin enough, you have some financial motive to kill Bitcoin, and you have the financial wherewithal to do it, and you do it just for the purpose of killing Bitcoin, and you know that you're sacrificing incredible amounts of money, but for whatever reason, that could happen.
Well, and then on top of that, there are contingency protocols, right? Like with one algorithm switch, you've kind of restored it.
Right. And then but that would require a consensus amongst a lot of Bitcoin, Bitcoin miners. Like the protocol itself can't simply change. The algorithm can't simply change, right? Without a lot of people coming together and making that decision. And
So
those people are centralized that it becomes hard to do.
okay, this is a great point to make. So yes and no, right? Normally, for a hard fork of Bitcoin to happen, meaning an overhaul of the protocol so great that it would actually be debated by the miners whether they would continue mining on that version. So, like, the easiest example would be Bitcoin Cash, right? Bitcoin Cash was a humongous change to the protocol, mostly the increasing of the block size, right? So they increased it from 1 megabyte to 8. Only like 11% of Bitcoin miners decided to now mine on Bitcoin Cash's version of the chain, which used the same algorithm SHA-256, right? But in the case so meaning the majority of miners never moved, and so therefore what you said is true, right? The consensus was we'll stay with the original, and so that's what really happened, right? But in the case I'm describing, some malicious guy owns 51% of all mining power, specifically to destroy Bitcoin. So of course he would not be on board with the algorithm switch that made his SHA-256 miners completely worthless and irrelevant to Bitcoin's new protocol. But obviously in a scenario that drastic, it would be Bitcoiners themselves who just start buying new types of ASIC miners with a new algorithm to continue on Bitcoin's legacy. I mean, we're pretty far down the weeds of blockchain here, but I hope that made sense.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, let's talk about proof of stake now for a minute. So in the ETH example, or proof of stake, I feel like this is where my brain still breaks. I fully understand proof of work, even though my original explanation was not nearly right, because we were talking about like how does blockchain work, and I went into more like how do you acquire Bitcoin, and to your point, yeah, totally understand it's not a puzzle like a bunch of kids putting a piece together that's sensible. It's a hash value that has to be created perfectly and to unlock the block. So that part just makes so much sense, like technically how it works. With Ethereum, it almost seems like it's simply give a bunch of money to lots of different people, and just because lots of money is in lots of different hands, that alone should give us comfort and security in the decentralization of Ethereum. But what I don't understand is how that leads to any concept of validation. How does, like, with Bitcoin, unlocking a block verifies, like, makes this page of the ledger real and valid. And you did that by actually solving the hash value.
Guessing.
Guessing, yes. Solving is the wrong word because you can't solve a thing that's not a problem. It's solvable, it's guessing. I get it. So, with Ethereum, is a new block being unlocked and validated just because someone says, I have money, yes? And like one person does that? Is that it?
So I'll be honest here. If the exact nature of how an Ethereum block gets validated is definitely beyond the scope of my technical abilities to explain. But the point is, it's not based on how many guesses can a machine spit out, right? That's proof of work. That's my ASIC miner is 10 terahashes, so it can guess 10 trillion times a second towards what the potential nonce value of a block could be. This is not going to be the same in Ethereum. I couldn't honestly break down the exact technical nature of how that quote guess is made, but it just obviously can't be based on how many you can make, because ever since Ethereum switched from proof of work, where it was a guessing based system, to proof of stake, right? There is no. Let me put it a different way. The entire Ethereum network probably runs on what, 100 or well, I can do the math. You go look at how many Ethereum validators there are, and then at the best case scenario, you say it's that many computers, because you could have 3 validators on one computer in theory, right? But let's just say there's 1 per 1. So if there's like 5,000 Ethereum validators and all you need is a crappy laptop to run one, granted you do need a consistent internet connection, like you can't just be losing Wi-Fi, right? But if there's 5,000 validators, you could say at most it would take 5,000 laptops to run the entire Ethereum network. So there again, you can just, based on that inference, know that it's not how much computational power towards guessing a number is being spit out, as laptops are not very efficient at this.
Yeah. So I don't want to sit here and speculate and guess on something we don't know. What I do know that's like confusing, and I now want the answer, and I will maybe just research on my own if no one knows, is we talked about Etherscan. We looked at who the validators are that are unlocking these Ethereum blocks and making it money, getting paid in Ethereum for it. There's some reward. So why then? Like, I understand in the Bitcoin example how Joe Smith, gets the block because Joe Smith's miner rig guessed the answer, guessed the hash. It makes so much sense. But then why does, on the Ethereum side, Joe Smith become the person that unlocks that Ethereum block? Like, how?
So I'm gonna give you a
get
hint.
it? And no one seems to know the answer. If you do,
no, I definitely know it, but I'm going to give you a hint here. Do these names ever include the word validator or miner, or do they include the word builder every time?
I mean, builder.
So let me break this down. This is where it's going to get real dark. Okay. Ever since the proof of work to proof of stake switch and protocol upgrades of Ethereum, the protocol now allows for block building to be the primary source of block efficiency. So how does this work? When you make a transaction on Ethereum, right, you send a request to a mempool, right? If you've ever been waiting on an Ethereum transaction, you might have noticed it says pending. So it's actually registered on chain, right? You can look up your transaction on Etherscan and you can see that it's, quote, pending. It's pending as a request in what's called a mempool, right? So right now, inside Ethereum's mempool, there's all kinds of transactions floating around. Some, just for the sake of argument, are 2 years old because the gas fee was too low and gas has never gone that low again, and now it's just floating there. In fact, you may have had a friend in crypto who tried to do an ETH transaction and it was stuck as pending, and then he ended up doing a whole bunch of more requests, and now he has like 20 pending transactions, and you may have had a night where you had to help him unfuck his wallet, so to speak. So what does block building mean? Block building means I can look at the mempool, and because every Ethereum block, like most blockchains blocks, have a maximum data limit to it, I can try and organize pending requests so that I fill up the data of that block perfectly, or as perfect as it can be, right? And I can also prioritize the highest fees attached to those requests into that block as well. So let's say that in 20 seconds, because I have a super fast algorithm that reads the backend network of Ethereum mempool, and I use that algorithm to sort all these transactions the most efficient way. Well, what I can then do is I can buy latency, meaning looking for the closest validator to me on Earth, right? Relay that potential block over to them, and essentially on a code level, demand that they validate it and give me like 99% of the fee. If they refuse to do this, right, I'll say, well, I'll never relay a potential block that I've optimized to you again. And what this means is that the top 30 people, they're probably groups of people, to be fair, right, who are the best coders at algorithmic sorting and other computer-related skills. We're talking about like God-level computer and blockchain skills here, can create essentially every block on the Ethereum network because they're the fastest at organization. Now, here's where it gets really dark. What if they say, I don't like this guy Soon. I don't like this guy Frog. And I know this guy's Frog's address. I'm never going to take a request from his address again and organize it into my optimized block, which I'm then relaying to a validator. Translation. Ethereum is basically controlled by like 30 groups of people, and if they don't like you, well, you're never getting a request through again. But it's decentralized.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Where's my evidence, you ask? Well, my evidence is the front page of Etherscan.
No,
This is the thing. Open the car
yeah.
hood. Just look right there.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that consolidated. So the same problem seems to still exist that would keep it decentralized, I guess. I'm thinking out loud. But when I think about the way we thought about Bitcoin and how it would be like, what's the phrase? Shooting your nose to spite your face. I forget it, but you know what I'm saying. The expression is something like that. The point, bite off your nose to spite your face, I think is what it is. Anyway, the point is they would have to make, like, they would essentially sacrifice the entire Bitcoin ecosystem in order to break Bitcoin, or to, if you wanted to ultimately like own Bitcoin, you'd fundamentally break Bitcoin and make it less valuable. So I understand that like conundrum, and I think maybe it exists on ETH too, because like, although most people don't look under the hood, that would get exposed at some point if too much Ethereum ended up in the hands of a small group of really, really, really good algorithm managers, engineer groups, right? That had the best like algorithm sorting technology. If those people got too good at what they do and consolidated too much Ethereum, then it becomes less valuable. So they would also have to, like, if they, you know, in a way that it could get to a point where it's like sort of consolidated, but if someone got to 51%, they would have to know that they're breaking the value of ETH and it no longer is decentralized. And so maybe there's the same risk there. And so maybe that would prevent people from going too far with it, but it does seem like it's happening on a scale that's concerning, but maybe it would never be 51% type concern.
I mean, now might be a good time to point out that ever since the protocol upgrade, which allowed for block building, ETH has underperformed compared to other bull runs. Like, look.
It's a good point.
So, just click one of their addresses and watch in real time as they make gorillions of ETH per day. By the way, these are not mysterious shadowy figures. Beaver Builder has a Discord. So does Titan Builder.
Yeah, of course they do, because they're building their fiefdom. Yeah, that's interesting. But also, as you say, not hiding.
So the way I always say it is, look, the guy who told me, I consider the guy who told me about this really big brain. And the guy who told him about it, he considers really big brain. And the people above that guy have one comment. how is no one talking about this? Like, again, most of the time when you make outlandish claims, you have no evidence. Not you personally, obviously, but like most of the time people say wild stuff in blockchain, like, oh, I know Satoshi Nakamoto. They have no evidence. My evidence is the front page of the main block explorer for the entire network.
Yeah, but I guess a lot of people, like myself included, who's just a
Hear me, this will be
stupid
interesting.
old plasterer, don't have a clue about what is going on, behind, well, in front of everyone's eyes, but kind of hiding in plain sight, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I'm sure that there are elements to it that I don't fully understand. I mean, I know I don't fully understand parts of what's happening here, what I've been talking about with ETH. And I also know that, like, the justification that Vitalik and all them give for it is that blocks will be more efficient, which is true. I mean, it is better to let humans maniacally, to the best of their abilities, sort data versus just kind of like letting Ethereum network do its bloody best, right? But I mean, it is one of the most undervalued topics, I would say, in Web3, and I think, to be honest, like a lot of people, myself included, right? Most of my bags this run are ETH meme coins, right? So like even those who know about it, they just kind of go into the don't think about it, Morty state of mind.
Yeah, I mean, and that's okay, right? As long as people are playing in a, well, it's risky, right? But people can, you can look back to like the beginning of this conversation. There are lots of successful, things that people do in this world that they don't fully understand under the hood, right? So we talked about cars a long time ago. You can be a hell of a NASCAR driver without knowing how to change your oil. I would assume most NASCAR drivers grew up changing some oil and know their way around a car. But there's nothing that like would actually stop you from being good at driving a NASCAR because you have a whole pit crew, and like if you're decent at that, sure, you might have started learning some things about cars, but you probably can become a hell of a driver. Or just take video games. Like the best gamers in the world probably could never build a video game and don't really know exactly how, nor should they, because it would distract them from being good at, you know, at aiming their gun in the map or whatever. So like there are skills that people have to build, and some of those skills might be trading. And so if you're a good trader, you shouldn't distract yourself with exactly how proof of stake works. Maybe it's smart that you don't worry too much about it. As long as you're good at, protecting your investment, and maybe you're a day trader or whatever, it doesn't matter. So there's certain things you can do well without fully understanding it. But for me, I guess I'm just an interested person, like this isn't me learning about ETH to know if I should buy it, although it does sort of influence me a little bit because this conversation
It's
definitely,
dark, bro. It's
killed ETH
dark.
a little bit,
It's the
killed ETH a
darkest
little, but
news any ETH guy could ever learn.
yeah, man, but it's all good. We should be open and honest. I love this. The morning space is all about just these kinds of conversations. It could go anywhere. We keep changing the title of the space. There's no main agenda. So I love that, it's a small group of us talking tech, and I'm happy that some people left the space because they were here for different reasons. Like, that's all good. So yeah, I mean, exploring this, talking about it, learning about it is good for some people who just care. Um, there might not be any like financial incentive to knowing that ETH is vulnerable or that it's consolidated into like the hands of a few. It's not as decentralized as maybe some think. It's that alone isn't like a huge problem for some people, but for others,
Or
they
can
want to
I
know.
can I put the
I
the
want to know.
silver lining on it?
Of
So
course.
so I've been talking about how, like, in theory, if these guys don't like you, they can kind of bar your address from the network, right? And I could say other things that were bad about how they do what they do. However, Right now, they have the same cut the nose despite the face dilemma. Okay, so let's say they start doing stuff that makes people really just be like, yo, Ethereum's whack, right? Like all of a sudden they ban addresses with this way, right? And people are like, yo, ETH is worthless, right? Because like you just can't even use it now. Not honestly. Okay, well they just killed the golden goose printing them millions of dollars a year. If the people in charge.
Well, right, but this comes back to my earlier point, which is that a bad actor could still do it. So a person that has a person or entity that has enough money and reason to kill ETH could.
No, because
Like I'll just throw it. Like,
no.
go
Because
ahead.
in this case, it's not based on how many ETH validators you have, meaning money, and it's not based on how many miners you have, meaning time and energy. Are you one of the 30 quote unquote people in the world who are just that good at computer programming ETH network backend? This is about how smart are you, not how rich are you. These guys didn't have to invest anything to become the optimized block builders.
Understood, but out of those 30, at least one would be swayed by generational wealth from CZ, who only wants Binance to win. I'm just throwing out an example, right? Like, there are people in this world that are powerful enough to get one of those 30 to kill ETH, I
Maybe, but
think.
the person in theory who is killing ETH is killing their current money printing machine. Like, granted, somebody could offer them $1 trillion, and perhaps that's just so much money that they're like, okay. But in reality, as long as they just keep building blocks every day, they are, I mean, again, just click their address and you can watch exactly how much money they're making. They have a golden goose, and their incentive is to keep it alive forever because it's just printing them golden eggs.
That sounds ridiculous. It sounds like a foolish decision. If I'm one of the 30, now look, hopefully the 30 are good people. And for the right reasons, they might need to say no to this offer. But my understanding of humanity is that 1 out of 30 people would be swayed by giant amounts of money. And if that money's big enough, why the hell would I want to have to continue to do the job forever and run my Discord and blah, 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 blah. If I could literally get $1 trillion and my bloodline's retired forever and my entire community can be rich, like a lot of people would think, there's some people that would think that way, right?
I like talking with you about these things soon because it makes the brain juices work for me. But okay, let's go with your example, right? In fact, let's say we can convince all of them to start just, messing around. Well, ETH, unlike proof of work, which does require minor consensus for a protocol upgrade, ETH would just immediately say, okay, the protocol that allows for optimized block building, no more, that's gone. And now these 30 people get nothing. Willy Wonka? You lose. You get nothing.
So then we're basically banking on the ETH Foundation to counter this behavior if it were to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and again, they're the ones that allowed it, right? Like, they're the ones that said, hey, we would rather smart people who design great algorithms and understand the ETH network backend to be sort of building optimized blocks. Like, they allowed this protocol to be implemented. They know what's happening.
Right. So that's where ETH investment basically becomes investing in a team of people, that is the ETH Foundation, to maintain Ethereum long term, whereas investing in Bitcoin is investing in an autonomous, decentralized protocol that I understand is not truly autonomous if you got all the validators together in a room. But by and large, like betting on Bitcoin is betting on true, fully decentralized, let it run in the wild, as opposed to betting on Ethereum, which is kind of like betting on a team ultimately, because we've talked about how ETH has gone through iterations of decentralization mechanisms, and that could change again. So you're basically banking on the team to be good at pivoting long term, as opposed to the technology in place.
Sorry, I'm just smoking here. Yeah, I mean, that, and to a large degree, you're just betting more people will buy it, right? Even the worst protocols out there have a team of people or cultists behind them that are just going to sink their money into it regardless, right? In fact, I mean, just to go back a second, I would say that one of the greatest mysteries I kind of can't wrap my head around is just why did ETH switch to proof of stake at all? Proof of work was great. Everybody loved it. The miners loved it. They were raking in fees like nobody's business during the NFT rush. And it was truly a betrayal of them. Like, they had to simulate hash rate on Ethereum in anticipation of a miner drop-off. Because if you're an Ethereum miner and you know that in 6 months, right, there is going to be no mining and your Ethereum miner is now a worthless hunk of metal unless you're using like a video card. Like, what's your incentive to not just stop mining and sell your hardware today? Right? So, like, the betrayal of ETH miners was one of the strangest kind of events. Like, I genuinely can't figure out the logic in that switch. Nobody was really complaining. And on top of that, here's the rub, right? I think the way they sold it was like, oh, well, switching to proof of stake will lower the gas fees. Spoiler alert, it didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's a different point of differentiation from Bitcoin, if they did it just for that appeal, or financial incentive for your buddies. I mean, that can always be part of
Well,
it, I
you
guess.
actually hit a great point soon because it knocked them out.
You can call me JD, please, if you don't mind. We know each other by now. But
Okay,
anyway, keep going.
There was that environmental FUD. I think Ethereum was capitulating to the internet horde, right? Like, Bitcoin mining is gonna boil the oceans. And there was that famous article from the Italian journalist in 2017 who said, Bitcoin will use all of the world's energy by 2023. Which is like, I don't think he knows how energy works, but yeah, there was a humongous kind of a philosophy split with that, like, well, we're proof of stake now, so nobody can point the finger at us and call us bad.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Very good point. So, all right. Then you look at Solana. Man, I don't know if we want to go there. We're going to run out of
Let's
time.
go.
I mean, you want to?
Let's do it.
Who here can talk Solana proof of history or something? And, you know, yeah, I don't fully understand it either. So, man, if you want to drop knowledge, feel free. If anybody else wants to, DeFi Tide, you're on stage. You want to take a stab? How Solana fits in? Or should we give it back to Fra? Or Sam? All right, Frog, if you're up for it, you're back in the podium.
I'll preface it as I'm not a Solana specialist. So I'm probably running on outdated knowledge. Here's the two things I know about Solana. I don't care how low it goes in the future. I'm never fading that dip again. Like, ever, under any circumstance. That's the first thing I know. I don't care if it's $1. Yeah. The second thing is, I think it's just a fairly legitimate, or probably completely legitimate, proof of stake protocol, which means, you know, it's just, if you are a validator, I don't even know how much SOL that costs, right? Or maybe it doesn't even work that way now. But if it's just a classic proof of stake validation system, right? You need blank token to be a validator. Now that you're a validator, you have 1 over total number of validator equal chance to continue the chain. I do remember something about, maybe I'm just totally off here. Maybe I'm off my rocker. I do remember something about Solana protocol being able to be upgraded without like validator consensus, but that it's worked well. Honestly, it seems like just a completely legitimate proof of stake project, right? The real criticism that somebody could lobby at it from like a macro argument is that proof of stake itself is like a bastard iteration, right? But that's just like the same talking point that every orange-pilled guy would make about anything that's not Bitcoin. But yeah, I haven't really dug into it as of late. So I hope that that's still the correct information.
So they do. So first of all, a couple thoughts. I'm not as technical as I guess I wish I was to lead this, but from what I know, Solana does have a process through which they make changes. So they host very engaging conversations. I've been in some of those. I've been a fly on the wall within the sort of Solana backroom voting, and I want to say it was in a Discord. I was paying close attention to the last one, but it was a really interesting conversation about how they allocate Solana and how much to different validators. And I know they recently had a vote on this and that shifted. So point being, in terms of how decisions are made, it is very much like public and people can pay attention to those decisions, those votes. The validators are the ones that vote up or down these proposals. So they don't just change on a dime without that. I know that. In terms of their mechanism, it is a proof of stake, but it has this thing I know that's called proof of history that I don't know how unique it is to Solana, and I don't fully understand it, but it's something like a historical record of encoded transactions that somehow like enables some higher level of efficiency. But I don't really know how to describe it any better than that. That's all I know. So it's not just proof of stake. It has this sort of proof of history thing. It has to do with a record of, I guess, encrypted transactions, and that somehow makes them more efficient, but that's like the extent of my knowledge, actually.
You know,
But I agree with you. I won't fade the dips. I agree with you on that.
no,
Sorry,
my bad. I didn't cut in. I'll take a look into it, JD, because one of my greatest weakness in Web3 is I'm lazy. It's like the Spider-Man line, brilliant but lazy, right? So I'll dig into that one because I probably should have a long time ago. I will say this. That's what I used to think. So I used to be like a Bitcoin purist, but I'd buy altcoins and memes because money, right? But like the plan would always be like make money on the 100x meme and then like go buy more Bitcoin because that's like the one that actually is real or something, right? Like that's how I used to think. And all of my arguments, okay, I'm going to take one more step back. Everyone gets into crypto for money. If you say you didn't, well, we'll just believe you for the sake of argument, but you did. At some point in their crypto career, everyone becomes a blockchain philosopher, right? And then you see them like debating why this protocol is better than that protocol, than this protocol, than that protocol, right? So like I was always like at heart like a Bitcoin protocol purist. This is the only thing that actually is legitimate, right? Like you could see me back in the day like debating with just dozens of people in rooms over the different ways that a blockchain can work. But what I really realized, especially as of late, is that it doesn't matter if I dig into Solana's protocol and I walk away with the assessment that it's all a big swivel, because that's what my assessment would always end up being, especially when I was like as a Bitcoin purist, right? Like, of course, that's what my assessment would be. But what I think I really missed in it all is that if 100 million people agree that Solana protocol is something they like, right? I like the stock, I like the meme, I like the protocol. It really doesn't matter at all what I think. What matters is that I faded it at $9 because I thought I was a better philosopher. And so everyone eventually moves back from blockchain philosopher to I'm here to make money.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I said earlier, like this space is a detour from, I guess, a lot of our mission here, right? Like I want learning to be part of this, but at the end of the day, people want to make money, of course. The thing is, like, here's what I have this feeling on money that I think a lot of people probably don't like think about enough, which is that with money, like, people look at money as this thing that greedy people try to accumulate. Sometimes people think like that. And what money really is like a unit of exchange between humans that represents value traded. And I think, like, that's where money comes from. It's the whole point is for us to be able to have possessions and then use those possessions to exchange possessions with others that need stuff, right? That's why money had to exist as a currency. And then it got to a point where, like, people obtained so much that it turned into like real assets and wealth. But at the end of the day, the only reason you need money is to get things from other humans, because you need other humans to produce stuff that you want. And money is your, like, tool for that. So why do I say all this? Well, like, in order to care about money, you have to care about, like, the way you're going to use the money. And so it still comes back to utility in some level. So, like, the utility is really always what matters for money. And so if the utility is what matters with money, then it just, I guess it is philosophical, but for me it still makes sense to understand how it works. Because if you don't understand how it works, I mean, look, Ethereum's money now. And if you don't understand how money works, you're kind of a pawn in a game. And I think that's, like, for me on TradFi, that's kind of like learning economics. Like, if I don't understand how the relationship between bonds and stocks, then I'm handicapped compared to other people who try to get money in the stock market. So I gotta understand, like, how yield curves work a little bit in order for me to be successful. I could try to just place bets on stocks that are going to go up or go down. But if that's all I do and I ignore, like, the understanding of the way the economy works and the macro pieces, then I'm just, like, handicapping myself, I think, because I'm like, you don't want to, like, a simple example is you don't want to go, like, buy a meme coin for 1000x on a red day. So if you can understand what drives a red day or what a red day looks like, you can be better at trading within it. So I guess this conversation still feels like a, like, really powerful backdrop for me. I don't know if that rant made sense. Kind of went all over the place, but I find it valuable.
I mean, I got most of it. I think, I mean, I feel like I've been esoteric a lot tonight, but at the fear of doing it again, right? The closer you were to growing up with video games, I think the more, I'll just say crypto makes sense, right? I was selling Ultima Online gold for cash when I was 13. I was selling World of Warcraft gold for cash when I was 21. Like, digital stuff isn't new. It's just how it's recorded is sort of new, right? I think the debate between, and by the way, I agree with the macro assessment you were making, right? Like, objects became currency at some point, right? Money has been seashells. Money has been gold bars. Money has been gold coins. Money has been gems. I think money is the term you can allocate to stuff when it becomes sort of the commonly denominated traded item, right? So gold is a metal until it's a coin, and then it's money if enough people say so. Well, if you take a look at the crypto ecosystem, I mean, I don't know what everyone else sees. I see gold, I see silver, I see rubies, I see diamonds, I see sapphires. If you move over to NFTs, I see literal stuff. It's just a bunch of stuff. Most stuff, whether it's real or digital, ends up at the garage sale or grandma's attic. But make no mistake, some stuff is quite valuable. I just see it all as digital stuff. It's not new. The closer, like I said at the beginning, the more of a gamer you are, and the kids these days, they're going to grow up, crypto is just hand in hand with their life already. They already know what this is. They just called it Roblox and Fortnite dollars and Steam dollars, but now it's just this. It's stuff.
Yeah, and that's why understanding the stuff matters. So if you're gonna try to accumulate a type of money, call it Ethereum, you should know a few things about Ethereum. Otherwise, like, look, somebody could say to me, "Hey, it's like you're following this trend, and you're just assuming that this thing will retain its value without understanding why it will or won't." And purely following herds of sheep to that is foolish. So I leave this conversation like more well informed. It doesn't mean I'm going to run away from Ethereum, but it means I'm going to think about it a little bit more than I did before. So I don't know. It helps. It helps me think about it. But I think this was a really interesting space. It went a way different direction than I expected. Small group. I think we'll wrap it up. But man, I personally enjoyed this conversation a lot, even though we didn't shill soon. We didn't talk about Wenjamin. I don't really give a shit. I'm happy that like we had this conversation. Frog, I genuinely have enjoyed meeting you. Wherever that relationship goes and takes us, it's been really fun. So I like these conversations. I appreciate my Zoom mornings. DeFi Tired, I saw you on stage, then leave and come back. So all good. You had to take a lap. If you want to come on stage, yep, please do. Say hello. Whatever you got, let's talk. And then we are going to wrap in a few minutes, but hope you enjoyed kind of listening to us geek out up here. How you doing, man?
What's up, buddy?
Not too much. We're just talking tech. I started this with, what are you waiting for? And at the beginning, that was what we did. Like we went around the room and people talked about a thing in their life that they're waiting for. So if you got one, go for it.
Oh no,
But
man!
then we
I was listening in and enjoying the conversation, Frog. Man, keep talking, dude. I love it. I know you said yesterday that you don't know. You said I don't know you yet, but I still kind of like you, man. You got some good knowledge in your head.
Appreciate that.
absolutely. Yeah, man. Happy to meet this guy. He's out of nowhere, right? Like I love when it's funny. It's actually it's a great reminder that like some of us flock to these like blue check accounts with thousands of followers and we think like that's where the information is. And then, random dude named Frog without a blue check and no giant following pulls up and this is the guy you want to learn from. So I just love stuff like that.
But they're called Daenerys Targaryen profiles, like builder of blockchains, breaker of hash rate. Like I remember when NFT. Do you guys remember when NFT God got hacked?
I do not.
So
No.
this guy's like, they all do the same thing every time. His is no different. First, it's I got hacked, but it definitely wasn't me being dumb. This is always like the first thing they post. And then it's like, okay, I don't know how to figure out what happened. Can anyone help me? And then like, non-blue check mark people in their replies are like, yeah, you signed this malicious contract interaction because you're stupid. In this case, NFT God typed his 24-word hardware wallet seed phrase into a regular MetaMask, and his computer had what the devil do you call it? One of those, whatever you type is recorded, right? He had one of those, like,
Keystroke recorders.
thank you, yeah, a keystroke recorder virus. So if you've ever had this happen, right, like you buy a Ledger hardware wallet and then like a year later it doesn't work anymore, like the screen breaks or some dumb shit, you drop it, right? So what normally happens, you just type those 24 words into a new Ledger device, like the actual physical thing has a thing for you to type the words into, right? And so that's how you like restore a hardware wallet. But NFT God just types those 24 words into a regular MetaMask. And then he's like, okay, maybe I did the dumbest thing anyone could ever do, but that doesn't mean I'm not good at this. I'm sorry. It's just like the longer their profile, the more followers they have every single time. Every goddamn time.
That's funny, man. Yeah, no, it's funny. I mean, there's a very big difference between being good at generating engagement and being good at understanding how technology works and being careful, being safe, and being good at trading and being good at investing. So, yeah, those are all very different skills. And, for that reason, I think that all those roles should be really well respected, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with being rewarded for being a really good marketer, but if that's what you're good at, you should probably try to make money on doing that instead of making money on whatever, NFT trading or something like that. I mean, that I guess is what it comes down to. It's like in crypto, it's sort of like we're all marketers and traders, but at JP Morgan, you're either a trader or a marketer, and you don't try to trade if you're the marketer.
It always makes me think of the line from the Avengers, "Puny God."
That's a good one. I like that. Oh man. DeFi Tide, how are you today?
Doing good, man. Just checking Soul Scan on some things. We got a couple of our guys in the team. They're looking at different pairings, seeing how the volume boost goes. Just seeing how the day's going, really.
Nice, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. Speaking of under the hood, you guys are under the hood with the pools, and that's cool, man. What else was I gonna say? I joined your space last night. I think you offered me the mic, but I couldn't talk and stuff, so I listened for a bit. But it was good. But yeah, then I woke up with your space ended on my phone screen. I think I fell asleep to your space halfway through or something.
Did you hear me tell you to take notes on Link?
Yeah, I heard the link comments a few times actually. I'd love to talk more with you about Link. Actually, I know. I feel like so. I met the dev on a space. You might have been there a few weeks ago, and I think I actually offered him like a conversation because I know he's working on a launch pad, and I just went through so much shit with the GFM launch pad. Even though I wasn't on the team, I was close to it, and I was an affiliate for a while. And we had a lot of like tough challenges and lessons learned. So I'd be happy to share those with him. But also I know there's some relationship to DeFi MFer, I think, which I don't maybe understand.
I wouldn't say a like a partnership or anything like that. What Link's gonna be able to offer is it's gonna be like a one-stop shop e-commerce spaces like here on X. Essentially, it's like anybody can literally tokenize anything that they do own and generate income off of it. And it's going to be a staking protocol also. And from what, I don't know if you heard that last night, but from what what we're gathering so far is stake whatever and earn whatever.
Yeah, I heard him say that a few weeks ago actually, and that's a really good point. I'll reach out to them actually because I think what you're saying is that could be a solution to our where do we stake or what pools do we create question.
Yeah,
Is
because
that
like
yeah.
that's an issue I'm having right now. Like with the DeFi project is I would love to have a staking option. I mean, I can create one on Streamflow, but I wish like these platforms like Orca does have a stake to earn, but I can't figure out how to create that for our project. Frog, would you know any info on that?
So just to make sure I understand, you want a staking protocol for your token or just tokens in general?
Um, my vision is to have something that you could bring any Solana meme to, or utility token, whatever, how they're going to classify it, be able to stake it, have a liquid token and to represent it that you are still able to utilize across like different protocols.
Okay, so I don't know if this will answer it, but it might kind of illuminate how they can do what they do. So when it comes to staking on something like Orca or Radium or whatever, right? Not liquidity pools, but staking, meaning there's an option for you to deposit either one or more tokens into something that will quote unquote earn you rewards over time, right? So here's how they can do that. Okay, so number one is they have their own native token, right? So like Jupiter has, well, that's a bad example. Radium has Ray, Meteora will have Met, and Orca, let's say, has a token for the sake of argument. So like if you're Radium and you designed the Ray token protocol, then your own protocol can do something like unlock X number of Ray every week to be transferred to Ray stake protocol, right? So basically, there are more of that native token being created, and so it's easy to see why they have the ability to give you a reward of that token for locking it up with them, because they're actually creating more of it over time. Now, number two would be they have an option for you to stake like their token and USDC. And they're promising you both. Well, it's the same scenario plus one more. So they created a token like Ray out of thin air. So it's easy to see why they can give you more of that as a reward for locking it up. But they might, on the USDC side, be fronting their own cash, right? Like they're putting 10 million of their own USDC into that protocol to be paid as rewards. And so, like, that's why they can offer that. Now, on a programming level, none of this is hard, right? Like, ChatGPT could write the Solana program needed to have this quote-unquote staking protocol be live, right? Now, the third option is the hardest one. And I will kind of tie it up in a bow for you. The third one's harder, where it's like you have Dog with Hat and you have Fart Coin as an option to be deposited and then rewarded with more of, aka staked. Okay, well, you would just have to front the bill for both. You'd have to go out on a limb, you'd have to buy both tokens, you'd have to have them available as a reward over time for those that stake them anyway. So it's just all money out of your pocket. Now, so your question is like, how did they do this, or how do I do this? Well, on a programming level, it's just not hard, right? Like ChatGPT, write me a Solana program to, I think it uses Solidity like ETH, right? But like you just make this work, uploads to chain. Now that contract's on chain, so the contract will pay out the rewards to those that stake. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, it did. And I've looked at that avenue and everything, but every time I look into, because like, for example, one of the premises that we've built with our project is communities building a treasury. Because you always have, like JD's bought some of my project, I've bought some soon. So I hold multiple projects, but we want to be able to do something when we have these collections. And I guess what would an option be, like a multi-sig with that?
So
I guess the set staking right now, would a multi-sig wallet probably be the best option? Just deposit everything in, and the heads of the community would have the signatures to approve any transactions.
yeah, so good question. If you're a dev and you have a team and you have a decision that involves money, meaning you can't just let one person hold the bag or the keys to the bag, right? Yeah, then multi-sig everything, right? Like you need you and you need one other guy and then a third person to all agree on the important stuff, like vast transfers of money, right? Uploading a protocol You know what? Never mind. I'm going to go back. Always multi-sig. If you're a dev, you're a team, always multi-sig. Everything. Yeah, always.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. It gives confidence. At the same time, like I guess, well, the other option in theory is like someone builds a front end of sorts where people can independently interact with it. But I wouldn't know how to do that. But in theory, you could hire somebody who does. But then it would be a question of like, is that front end even trustable as opposed to trusting the multi-sig? So I think the multi-sig probably makes sense, right? Because if you're going to trust any front end, it means you trust the team behind it. So why not just trust the team?
So here's the other thing, right? DeFi, because I think I didn't really address this. Like you want to build up a battle chest, right? You want to build a treasury. Yeah, that's kind of what you're saying, right?
Yeah, because I mean, theoretically, I see it's not mostly for like this cycle. I'm looking for future cycles here with because I believe like these tokens will survive. I believe these communities will survive. So being able to do something where it benefits that community and benefits our group as a whole, where we're all earning. That's kind of, I guess, the flywheel action is what we're looking for to be able to do with this.
So
So,
go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
so like if let's say I did a stream flow, okay, staking option, I could create a liquidity pool with our supply, have those fees that are earned put into as a reward for staking on there, couldn't I? And that way I'm not kind of paying out of pocket for it.
Okay, so yeah, it's a good question. It's robust. This is why I made the distinction between, like, when I started that whole rant about staking, I started with these are not liquidity pools, right? Liquidity pools are different than staking protocols. Some staking protocols that you stake with and pay you a reward take your money and actually use it to make a liquidity pool and do better than you so that they can give you your rewards as a smaller cut. But a liquidity pool is different because it is two assets that pay fees not as a reward for locking something up, but as a result of two assets being traded, right? So and this is like what I do pretty much for my main bread and butter outside of ETH meme coins. If I buy Fartcoin and Unstable Coin, and I put them together in a pool, right? People are going to actually swap one for the other, and that is the justification for me to take a rake, for me to get a fee. A staking protocol is different because it is not a result of people trading a coin for another. It's a result of a protocol being written so that the longer you leave your assets in it, the more it gives you some as a reward, right? But there was no trade behind the scenes in staking that generated said fee. And by the way, sorry to backtrack, but here's some, I mean, it's as useful as you can make it advice. So if you want to make a battle chest, you have three options. Okay. Option one, your team just makes good trades and holds it as a backing to your token, right? So like the DeFi team actually makes a 10x on something, and then they just like take the profit and they use it to back the value of DeFi token, right? DeFi TAR token. That's like option one. Option two is you do actually take your token and pair it in a liquidity pool with a different token. And you have to be right about that other token. But if that other token starts to moon, well, people are going to be buying your token to swap your token for that token because it's going up, right? So this creates volume and growth for your coin. But the reverse is if you pick a bad token, it's going to go the other way. And then option three is simply your project creates something out of thin air and you take a bunch of money out of your own pocket to back the value of it, aka create a liquidity pool, and you bet that this new shiny thing is something people actually want to buy, and so they start buying it, and now the value of the pool you've created for it goes up, right? So it's pretty standard. Like Uniswap created a token one day, right? And they airdropped a lot of it for free, and they had some of it for their team, but a good amount of it went into a liquidity pool. They took ETH out of their own pocket, and they used that to back the value of Uni. Now, because they gave a lot of Uniswap token away for free, they were praying that people wouldn't just mass dump it into their own pool, which they provided ETH for, right? Because then they would just drain the ETH and Uniswap would tank. They were right. People were bullish on Uni, and they just ended up buying it regardless of the fact that a ton of people got it for free. So I hope I didn't meander too much, but those are really the three options to creating a battle chest.
I feel like there's a fourth option maybe, which would be involving the fees, right? So you laid out three really good options, and you said that trading fees wouldn't be part of staking rewards, but I don't see why they couldn't be. I mean, with GFM, that was the core premise. With some platforms now, people put taxes on, and they use those to populate different things. Could be staking rewards. So I feel like there's potentially a fourth option, which is involving fees, right?
So I see what you're saying. What you could do, right, is kind of what a lot of the new pump fund coins do, which is that when your coin gets traded, meaning Soon or DeFi Tard or whatever, right, obviously the liquidity pool, the main liquidity pool for your token, does charge a fee for people who trade. And so a lot of people do take that fee and then use it to like buy back and burn or reward the holders, right? But again, this is yet another example of a pure liquidity pool. The fee is generated from the trade. So one easy way to say it is, in a liquidity pool, every trade makes a fee. But in a staking protocol, not every fee comes from a trade. More often than not, it comes from no trade. It comes from a token unlock over time. In the rare case that it does come from a fee, it's that the people who created the protocol are using your assets as liquidity and paying you probably less than what they're making. So it's like I'll give you the easy example. I say, hey, yo, JD, if you give me $1,000 in unstable coin and you give me $1,000 in dog with hat, right? If you give me that, I'm going to give you 5% more a year. You're going to stake 5%. You go, that sounds great. And so you give me $1,000 in unstable coin and $1,000 in dog with hat. Well, I make a really crazy good liquidity pool. I'm making 15% a year, right? And now it's easy to pay you 5%. So that sometimes is what's happening behind the scene, but more often than not, it is just a pure result of some protocol creating more of its own token, right? If I lock up Radium, I get more Radium, but that's not because my Radium was used for a trade. It's because there's a Radium protocol unlocking Radium over time.
Yeah, I mean, that is one option, right? But the other option is that you literally have a platform that keeps some of the fees and gives some of them back, right? Like that is what I'm describing. And I think, like, I know, like, Sam and I are probably crying inside. Sam's probably crying like me right now because GFM did have the solution to this problem. But there are other platforms that allow you to just, define your own tax. And that tax is over and above what that platform needs to fund itself. This might be moot because if DeFi Tard and Soon, already launched, it's too late to do that. Like maybe it's moot. But the concept is there still. So I don't know if there's a way to like add a tax to every trade that you could recoup. I don't know how that would work, but maybe you somehow create pools that are attractive, Like couldn't you create a pool or something that has like I don't know, a built-in tax, or am I just talking crazy shit?
Great question, right? Like we talked about this a bit yesterday. I can go on Meteora, right? AKA, let's define it all. So I'm going to go to Meteora, which is a platform. Now that platform is just a website. There's a back end where everything is done on Solana network, right? Contracts and transactions are done on Solana network. The front end is a website. Websites are not blockchains. On the back end, you have the blockchain, right? Now I can use Meteora's website to deploy onto Solana blockchain a Fartcoin dog with hat liquidity pool, and I can set the fee rate for my pool, aka the contract I'm creating, to be as high as 6%, right? So I, the creator of the pool, am taking a 6% fee rate for a contract I deployed through the website Meteora. However, to kind of tie it back to what you were saying about platforms taking fees, right? Even when I deploy that contract for that pool at 6%, Meteora's cut and paste template that I deployed will include that Meteora itself, or more specifically their address, right? Their wallet, so to speak, will out of my 6% fee take a small fee for themselves. So like, I hope this is kind of touching upon what you said. The platform does generate fees of volume through their contracts deployed, right? But that's not exclusive to me creating a higher fee rate through their template. So like one more analogy. I know I labor on, but do you remember when OpenSea and like Rarible allowed you to deploy custom NFT contracts so that your NFTs would have like a shiny specifier that it was your collection? You remember this?
I
So it's
do,
the
yeah.
same kind of thing, right? OpenSea is the platform, but they have a cookie cutter cut and paste template that allows me to deploy a contract on chain. Now, that contract on chain I deployed still has built into it that OpenSea is going to get a tiny cut, if we're still talking about when they did that, of whatever sale of whatever asset is created through the contract that I deployed. The easiest way to get around this would be like when ChatGPT 8 comes out and you're like, yo, ChatGPT 8, build me a liquidity pool for dog with hat and unstable coin, but deploy it yourself so it doesn't give part of my 6% to those assholes at Meteora. Right? Like, that would be the day.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. I would think about that. I mean, you don't want to like, so DeFi Tard, like we're both in the tradie community, right? And I think, to be honest, as much as I love what they're doing, like that 10% tax is kind of extreme. I know it's talked about like, that could change and it's modifiable, which is cool. But that's a lot. But I think most people don't pay attention to this stuff. But, for me, that's a lot. It's for good reasons, right? Like the model's different and it's got good reasons, but maybe like a tiny fee, like a 0.5% or 0.25% that adds up over time is just like unnoticeable. And, that gives you like a more stable revenue source to provide staking rewards as opposed to like trying to bank on you guys getting a 10x or using your own money or these other options that are, costly for you. I guess the middle option that Frog laid out, which was more around the right liquidity pools being involved, that sounds attractive. Or I guess adding some kind of tax, because otherwise it's like you're banking on yourselves, essentially just funding the project,
Yeah, that's where personally I like the Orca pools, because like that splash pools, it'll range from 1% to 10%. Just depends what people are trying to do.
Totally makes sense. Yeah, maybe I should look into that too. Although I am going to look into this link stuff because I'm not looking to like your project is more about DeFi at its core, right? So it makes sense for you to get extremely technical with your team on this stuff. For me, I'm looking for a relatively low lift, like easy way for people to be able to get a little more out of there soon. And I want to give that to people. I don't personally care that much about this stuff. Like I don't know. Like it's good, nice to have. It's not like core and essential in my mind, but people just ask this question all the time because it's become popular for people to expect rewards and, all these types of earnings because so many projects have just started to offer that as a value proposition. So I think we still want to do something like that, like for us for soon. GFM was where we launched, right? So staking is very much alive and possible there. You get incredibly juicy rewards. Like that's the beauty of that model is that it's fully decentralized ownership. Like there is nobody, like OpenSea making the money and therefore like diminishing the returns of the holders and stakers and investors. It's a beautiful model, but it just can't win because there's no VC behind it like there is with OpenSea. So you lose. So GFM won't succeed because of that. Unfortunately, big money wins. And because of that, we're going to find some other option. I think, I'd love to talk to Link about it. The other option is like, and Frog, I don't know if I talked to you about this. I talked to DeFi Chart at length about it. You can go right to Dexscreener and you can, claim rewards through their like front end on the Soon page, essentially by adding to the Meteora liquidity pool. You don't have to create a new pool. You literally just add to the pool and then earn rewards later. It's really easy, and it's through Meteora, which feels very safe. I mean, you can joke all you want about Meteora. I'm not interested in talking about the people or their greed or whatever things they've done with fucking Libra or whatever.
They're not the greedy ones. I'm the
but
greedy one. I charge 6%.
Yeah, there you go. So the point is like Meteor is very reputable and like people feel comfortable staking there through Dexscreener. I can't think of a better option to give people than to say, go to our Dexscreener page where you already go anyway and hit the claim button and it's super easy, intuitive. Just do what Meteor guides you through and you're done. Like that's the best thing for me to do. I just have no idea what's behind it. Like I don't know why it exists. I don't know how much it pays. I don't know how it works. And I just don't know, and that's, I just gotta dig into that and figure it out a little bit more. I might even reach out to Meteora directly.
So wait, can I ask?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we just met 2 days ago. Soon
Yeah.
was deployed through Meteora then?
No, it soon is on Meteora, but it was deployed through a launch pad called GFM.
When you say it's on Meteora, just to clarify, meaning the team created a pool back in the day?
Or did you have a
Well,
bonding curve and it migrated?
Yeah. Did you have a
yeah,
bonding
well,
curve that migrated?
yeah, I mean, it was a pre-sale, so not a bonding curve, but yes, essentially.
I see. Okay. So, but either way, the end result was there is on Meteora a pool of Soon and Solana, I'm assuming, that you can trade one of for the other four, correct?
Very much, yeah, and it's very thick. It's like almost as much as our market cap.
Okay, and so is the rate adjustable for fees or is it set?
I don't know if it's adjustable in any way.
Do you mean by, because like my pool, when I bonded on Monday, it migrated to Radium, and it has the dynamic feature where it goes from 0.25 up to 15%.
Correct. That's what I mean. Does it have that? JD?
Can pull it up and look.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. I was going to look. I'm on my phone. Let me go in. I think the best
I
way
can pull it up for you on Meteor if you want.
Okay, yeah, that's where I was about to go. I'm always like a little nervous because if I do too much on my phone as a host of a space, it gets risky. So thank you.
Soon.
But yeah, I went in and populated with the dev wallet. Actually, I went in and added to the pool the other day, but I didn't put all of the dev wallet holdings. I just put some just to kind of see where it goes. I did double sided 50-50. I don't remember if it even gave me the option, but that's what I did. And I think the fee was 0.5%, and I don't remember it being something I could adjust on the front end. But unless you mean, is it dynamic automatically? I think it said dynamic, but it didn't show a rate.
It usually is dynamic. If you have a migration to Meteora, it's usually dynamic for meme coins now.
Well, the thing about it is, in some cases when I look, I see a range, which to me says dynamic, right? Like it's a range of fees. But in mine, it just says exactly 0.5%, if I remember correctly, and DeFi chart is looking now. But it
Yeah, I had
doesn't.
to get your CA.
I can pull it up too. I'll go to my laptop.
Oh, interesting.
Uh-oh.
Is it a volume 2?
Is it a what?
A
Yeah,
volume 2?
it's a V2.
It is.
Yes.
If he adds equal amounts, it's gotta
Yeah.
be.
There's 3 pools for soon. You got a base fee of 6%, base fee of 6.01. Let's see. Yeah, I'm seeing 3 pools listed for it.
So you might so keep in mind, right, there's the staking pool, and I have the address for that. So
This is the dynamic permissionless. Total VL in the last 24 hours is 0.12%.
tell me where should I look to see what you're looking? I'll go to my laptop next time.
Here, you go to Meteora, then go to DAMM V1, and you can just type in soon, and it should be the second pool that you see come up.
Hold on, I'm going to Meteora. Sorry. All right, now what? Pools?
Pools,
Yeah,
then DAMM V1.
Yeah.
And you can just type soon or paste your contract address in.
So the liquidity provider fee is 0.5, protocol fee is 0.1.
Yeah, it's non-dynamic.
Yeah.
I had no idea that there was so much Solana in this pool. That's a lot.
Have you seen ours?
I know, that's...
So mine's sitting, I'm at 52K market cap, and I got 30K liquidity, 31K liquidity right around there.
Sorry, wait, I'm more than happy to go to you, but please stay with Soon for a minute.
I am. I'm just like ratio, because I can't believe how much liquidity you have in yours, man. That's insane.
I know, that's why I'm fucking obsessed with this project, and more people should be. But anyway, let's move on. But no, seriously, guys, like think about it. Like, I think the project's great on many levels, but we're set up with such strong liquidity that the pre-salers just left us with. It's just insane. So, and the marketing budget. So I'm like, this project has to run. But anyway, I'm looking, when I put my CA in, there's only one pool. So you're sure you guys weren't seeing other soons with this?
There was one in the volume 2, I want to say. There's something listed in there to where it said 3 pools available.
If you go to Dexscreener, there are 4 that pop up. But again, here's something that's worth mentioning all the time. Websites are not blockchains. Front end data can be screwy, especially when but anyway, yeah. So you pulled up the main one?
Well, it doesn't. So hold up. If you go to V2, the total value locked across those 3 pools is $11.51. So I just don't think they matter. I think the V1 is the only pool that matters.
Yeah, Dexscreener isn't picking up. When I clicked on other pairs, it just pulls up that main Meteora pool with the 73K liquidity.
Exactly. That's our liquidity pool, and it's locked permanently on Meteora.
I mean, there's one with 470-ish bucks, a DAMM V2. But anyway, sorry.
Well, wait, are you sure it's our CA? Because there are other soons.
Nope, it's your CA.
Wait, I just looked and I don't, $70? I see $70.
470.
Wait, you're saying if you go to damn V2.
I'm saying if you go to Dexscreeners, and you copy your contract address in. There are 4, and one of them has like 470-ish bucks in it.
Wait, so you're saying on Dexscreener you see that?
Correct. It's the same CA, same first 4 and last 4.
Got it. So on Dexscreener, I think what you'll see is pool. I'm going to look it up now and see what you're referring to. So when you go to Dexscreener and you look for pools, where do you look? I don't usually look for.
So all you do is just copy your contract address into the Dexscreener search bar, and it'll show you every pool for your coin. And then you see the first one's your main one, the second one is some dead, 0-cent pool. The third one is that 470-ish bucks, and then the last one is like $10.
No, when I search my CA in Dexscreener, I get one pool.
Really?
Well, are you talking the CA that ends in GFM, the actual soon CA, or do you mean the pair or something?
No, I mean the actual CA of the coin. Try Dex Tools then, and not Dexscreener.
Just to be clear, the CA you're talking about begins with AQQF and ends in GFM.
AGFM, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I literally go to Dexscreener search bar and get one result.
Try Dex Tools.
Okay, hold on. Let me go to Dex Tools.
Because this is what I'm saying, right? Dexscreener, Dex Tools, these are websites. They might not even be correctly reading the back-end data sometimes.
100%. I'm with
Hey, JD, you have the dev wallet, right, for Soon?
I do, and I see Dex Tools now. I see what you mean, but go ahead.
Do you get airdrop Solana?
No, so when I first migrated, we got one sol. That's what GFM does for everybody who migrates automatically. But no.
Okay, because like
the money goes. I understand this question. The money from our trading fees goes to the stakers in the staking pool because we already have a staking mechanism that's already available. All of the fees are available to the stakers. It's already there. I've said it over and over, and I feel like people don't understand this. You literally can stake your Soon and make a shit ton of money already. But it's on the GFM site, and I won't condone it because the GFM team has left the project. So the site where you can do the staking is not a front end I'll recommend. Now, technically, you can always use that staking protocol because the smart contract's a Meteora that lives underneath it. So you can use custom instructions to stake and unstake your Soon forever, as long as nobody fucks with that smart contract. But I don't want to put my brand on that. So that's why I don't tell people to stake there, but that's why I'm not getting any SOL either, right? Like the money from all the fees that's being earned is there for stakers to get in that staking pool. So
does that site crypto rank IO?
No, it's GoFundMe. What is it? Sam might know. GoFundMe.io or something. It's literally the launch pad. It's like the fucking best launch pad ever. It just sucks. The team abandoned it. GoFundMe.io is the site. You can go there now and you can stake your Soon. I've staked mine a long time ago. I used to stake the marketing wallet. It's fire. Just building fees left and right. And there is 50 something million Soon still staked there. Last I looked, it's, 5% of Soon is staked still on the GFM site, and it's probably just going to live there forever because the people probably forgot about it. It's basically like a lock. I actually do know some of the people that say one of them is actually a Meteora guy. And like that person's got a big bag staked. So I know some people that have like Soon staked and they're just leaving it there forever because they just believe in us and in this.
Hey, just going back to how we got on this rabbit hole. So you remember how you're asking, like, on Dex something, there's a way to deposit into my Soon pool kind of thing? That was like what you were asking, right?
That's the main driver of this. Yeah, man, I want to do that.
So here's the rub, right? Okay, watch this. Go to Meteora.
Yeah.
Go to pools. Go to DAMMV1.
Yeah.
Post your contract. Pull up your Soon pool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you what Dex Tools did. Dex Tools is just an extra step in this case, right? So here's what you could do. You see on the right, you have deposit, and there's the option for SOL and Soon.
Yeah.
So just type one SOL just for an example, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you type one sol, it says 2.482 mil soon, right?
Yep.
And that's because you have to add equal fiat value. One sol dollar value is equal to 2.484 or 2.482. Now, what Dex Tools was doing is it's making it feel more comfortable to click the same button you'd be clicking here right now to deposit just through Dex Tools, right? Because you're like, well, how do I get
No,
the
no,
community?
that I understand. I've already done it. Like I literally already did this, and I already have some of the dev wallet double-sided added to the liquidity pool through this process, and I did it by clicking from Dexscreener, so I totally understand that. The
Yeah,
only, go ahead.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were saying like, how do I get the community to add to this pool, right?
No, it's not how do I get them to, it's should I. I just don't understand enough about what happens in this pool. Like, am I getting raped? Am I making money? You know what I mean? I just don't know. Like, and maybe
So
I
here,
shouldn't care, but does that make sense?
yeah, no. So here's what's happening, right? This is how it works. So let's say, and we're gonna keep it real light. Obviously, this is done through an aggregator, but let's just say I did it here. So you go to the swap tab, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say I wanted to buy one sol worth of soon. So I say, okay, I'm gonna swap my one sol. I'm gonna get 2.45 mil soon, right? Well, what's going to happen is that 0.5% of the value of that trade is going to be taken as a fee and put back into this pool, right? You see? So a
Mm-hmm.
tiny fraction of my one sol, or the soon I receive, I forget which one it is, it's one or the other, will go into this pool so that the value of the pool grows, right?
Wait, sorry. I'm with you, but show me where are you basing this information where it says like LP fee and protocol fee?
Correct, right? So protocol fee, I mean, unless I'm off my rocker, is the Meteora side, right? What they get out of all this stuff, right? And then the liquidity provider fee is like you, the provider of liquidity themselves, are getting the fee. But notice, right? You're not getting the fee in the form of it going into your wallet address, right? It's not like depositing that directly into your address. It's going back here into the pool. Now, one thing that would be worth mentioning, right, is that there are other kinds of pools. They're called DLMM or version 3 or concentrated liquidity, depending on the platform. And in those cases, the fee does not go back into the pool, and it's held in perpetuity for you, the provider. Now, why does this matter? Here's why it matters. This is what we call standard range liquidity, meaning your pool, meaning how much soon is worth relative to sol is based entirely on how do I put this? This is going to be tricky. In version 2, the range is infinite, meaning if I buy an infinity's amount of sol so that I get as much soon as I can, I will get less soon with each and every swap, right? The more I buy, the less I get for the same amount. That represents the price of soon going up. And it's the same for the reverse. The more soon I sell into the pool, the less sol I'm going to get for the same amount of soon. Now, the ratio is exactly equal, meaning the value of the Solana in your pool is the same fiat value as the value of the soon in the pool. It is always that equal ratio, and that will determine how much soon you get when you buy and how much sol you get when you sell. But, and this is why it always wants equal amounts from you. This is why you can't deposit only sol or only soon, because the values of what's in the pool have to be exactly equal. Now, one other thing about version 2, they call it DAMM, but you really should just think Uniswap version 1, 2, and 3, right? Because that's like the OG term for it. Version 2 pools will always redistribute the fees that they earn back into the pool. Always. That is where the fee goes. Versus concentrated or version 3, or here they call it DLMM, right? Dynamic liquidity market maker. That is the case and where the fee will go out. So let's get to your question. What will happen to people if they put their money in here? What happens to me, Frog, if I buy 2.4 million soon, and then I deposit that 2.4 million soon, and 1 SOL to match it into the pool? What will happen is that my 2 tokens, Soon and Sol, God, it's hard to articulate, will be traded for what are known as Meteora LP tokens. You might notice in your wallet, right, you own some Meteora DAMM V1 LP tokens, right? And that you received those tokens when you deposited into this pool, right? And so if I deposit an equal amount of both sides, meaning 1 SOL and the dollar value soon to back it, which I obviously have to buy first, right? Then I will own these LP tokens, which represent a part of the pool. So let's think like this. There's $73,000 in this pool. So if I deposited $7,300, I would own 10% of the pool, or 10% of all Meteora LP tokens for this pair, right? Now I can always take the LP tokens that I own and swap them for 10% of what this pool is worth. So tomorrow, if this pool goes up a bunch because people are buying soon and it's worth 100 grand, well, I own 10% of that 100 grand. And if I swap my LP tokens for Sol and Soon, I'm going to get 10% of this pool's worth. Does that make sense?
It does, but I think you'd also get the trading fees that have accumulated over that time period, right?
Correct, but you're 100% correct that I am receiving those fees, but those fees are always part of the pool, right? They're redistributed into it. So the reason I get 10% of the fees, if I own 10% of the
Got
pool.
it. So 10% of the pool, that makes sense. So the pool value is increasing not just by the natural price equation, but it's also growing a little bit more because of those fees. So when you say 10%, it's 10% of the value of the Soon, including factoring in the price increase, but also a bonus of the fees that were already been accumulated in that liquidity pool.
Correct. And so this ironically enough, right, is why a lot of the older meme coins have value to back them, because back in the original days of Sol meme coins, when nobody was making any other kinds of pools, all of the fees would be being redistributed into the main. Let's say let's pick one, right? Like the Michi cat coin. When Michi came out, nobody was creating side pools, so all the fees that Michi was racking up, same thing for Pepe in the OG days, were just going back into the pool as liquidity to back it. Right? But now we have a new kind of problem where if I make a DLMM pool where all the fees do not go back in, but in fact go to me, well, now the fees that are supposed to over time prop up the value of the project just get dumped by me. So the Sol I earn gets pocketed and the extra meme I earn gets dumped. Right, and so this is actually why you can see that the older the Sol meme coin, I mean, they all can rug in theory, the better it's held up over time. Whereas new meme coins, they come out, you see a billion Meteora pools appear out of nowhere, all of them DLMM. So all the fees that are being generated through the trades just get pocketed on the Sol side and dumped on the meme side.
JD, have you thought about a stablecoin pairing?
Yes, thought about it. To be honest, like this is why I said I'm thinking it sounds so silly of hiring some kind of CFO for this project. I know it sounds like grandiose for Web3, but the reality is like I have a lot to think about. And so that's why this Dexscreener option that already exists is so attractive to me. I'd love to talk about it for a few minutes, but at the end of the day, I got a lot to do on this project, right? So I just don't spend a lot of time. Like I want to think about this problem, but I just don't have enough capacity to. But sure, let's talk about it, for 15 minutes or something, or 5. I don't know. Why, like I understand. So I guess my goal here is to enable people to earn some sort of passive income while holding their Soon. It doesn't have to be automatically distributed in their pocket, because if it's claimable liquidity pools, they can always claim and then re-add a different amount. So like that's still not quite like, I guess it's liquid, right? But it's not automated distributions. I'm okay with that. But I just want to, the main thing is when people say, is there staking or can I, somehow earn off the fees or whatever, I just want a simple answer for people. But if pairing with a stable like gives us some big benefit, then I want to explore that too. So yeah, I don't know. Why do you ask? We've talked about it a couple times, but help me understand. Why do you ask?
I had to unlock my phone. Sorry. I I'm a believer that it helps stabilizes a project, and especially like if you want a longevity is your play, and you want to go for a long haul. Frog can probably help back me up on this, but towards the end of the cycle, you want to be more heavy towards a stable coin rather than Sol when Sol has a downtrend at the end of the cycle. Correct?
Totally with you on that. That makes tons
Okay.
of right. Now, I guess we could talk about that conceptually for a while, because I don't think. Well, anyway, let's just assume that's true, because I think it's a reasonable argument. Even if we wanted to do that, let's say I launched a pool right now today paired with USDT. I don't know, or USD1, right? If I did something like that, without injecting a ton of money myself into the pool, maybe I put $100 or I don't know, something, but how would that start to populate in comparison to my existing pool? How would that impact the fees generated that people can claim today through Dexscreener easily? Knowing that I already have this really thick liquidity pool, how would some new smaller one paired with USD1, like how would that execute and what would that look like?
Take it, Frog.
Yeah, so, by the way, you do make a great point about Sol not being the best of asset backers. Like, let's not forget, if Sol goes to $1 tomorrow, all Sol meme coins go to 0. They go down pretty quick. But, yeah, so this is how it would work. First, you do what I taught you yesterday, right? You go, first pair, Soon, second pair, USDC, 6% fee rate, copy and paste the current exchange rate of the two, and then hit enter, and now it's deployed, right? So now there's a pool. It's got $100 of Soon, and it's got $100 of USDC. Now, it's a 6% fee rate, right? So, I'm gonna quiz you here. I'm gonna drill you, JD. If the price of Soon goes up 3%, will the 6% fee rate pool even be considered by an aggregator?
If the price of Soon goes up by
3%.
3%. Oh man, you're breaking my brain. But hold on. If you really want me to think about this, you got to give me time. So give me like 30 seconds, and if I fail, then I failed. So 3%. If the value of Soon goes up by 3%, and there's a 6% fee on this pool, but there's actually a less than 1% fee on the other pool, I think that's the question here. It's like, why would I think the answer is, See, I guess I don't know the answer. And for me, the answer is it would never use this pool because any smart routing system or aggregator that's worth using should be looking for the cheapest path. And the cheapest path would not be to pay a 6% fee. However, it depends on the value of the paired coin. So I'm thinking, this took me a minute. Thank you for giving me time. It's my stage. I get as much time as I want, I guess. But, here it is. So I think you said if the price of Soon goes up by 3%. But what I'm thinking about, in my head at least, is the value in relationship to USD1 or Solana. Like, if I'm buying it with Sol, or I'm buying it with USD1, I guess because I have two pairs, I could buy it with either token, technically. I think.
I'm gonna give you a hint. I'm gonna give you a hint. I'm gonna give you a hint.
Yeah, you can give me a hand if you want, or just help me. I'm not.
Even if you buy Soon with USDC, what is actually happening is that the router goes, okay, well, where's the cheapest Soon price? And if it's in a Solana pool, it converts your USDC to Sol, and then your Sol to Soon.
Okay, got it. So I don't really understand your question, actually, because your question was, if the price of Soon goes up, then would it go through which pool would it go through? And I don't really see why the price of Soon matters in this question. I can see like, I can see that if I'm buying with USDC and that pool is a 6% fee, that is always going to convert to Solana first and buy Soon, unless the value of Solana was so high that it was cheaper to buy Soon with USDC directly, even though there was a 6% fee, because the cost of converting USDC to Solana has gone up so much.
Yeah, so by the way, you were doing really well. You had it at the beginning originally, right? I think the exact words were, no smart router would ever consider the 6% fee rate pool when a less than 1 fee rate pool exists, right? So this is always, you had it right. So the golden rule is this: if the price is not moving more than the fee rate, doesn't even matter if it's moving up or down. Let's just say it doesn't matter if it's up or down. If the price hasn't moved more than the fee rate of a pool, that pool will never be considered, right? So heading back to the beginning, you create this pool, $100 is Soon, $100 USDC. Well, as long as Soon isn't moving more than 6% from its current price, that pool is just going to sit there, do nothing. Doesn't matter if price goes up, doesn't matter if price goes down. If it chops sideways, 4% up, 4% down, 4% up, 4% down. If it just chops, that pool is just going to sit there and do nothing. Now, let's say tomorrow Soon doubles in price, right? Just explodes in value. Okay, well, a lot of the trades, most of the trades are going to be through the main pool, right? Cheaper is cheaper. But at some point, 6% fee rate of a pool that's price is still low is going to be cheaper than the main pool. So if the main pool's price goes up 50%, well, an untouched pool at the original price will of course be cheaper. So then that one will go up 50%.
Got it.
Right?
Okay, so I'm cutting you off because I need to help myself understand this. Now I got it. I think what I was missing before is that the price of Soon is independent pool by pool. And I guess that's what my brain wasn't factoring in. The price of Soon can be lower in pool A and higher in pool B. And I'm sorry that I forgot that, because DeFi chart, we've talked about a million times with you go to Coinbase, you go to Binance, you go elsewhere, Bitcoin costs different price. Easy example. Like, these pools all have different price of Soon. So the person who has that one pool I told you about, I don't care about because the TVL is like $11. I really should think about caring about, because the price of Soon will be really cheap in that pool for a long time. if no one's trading in it. And then eventually that could be the best route, and that person could actually make a lot of money on their $11.
Well, they'll just make a percentage of all total fees in the end, right? Like, I think the
Well,
real
right. I don't mean they'll make a ton of money. I just mean that pool has a purpose and could exist and be employed. I guess that just helps me understand why if I created other pools, they would also be employed, because even though the tax is higher or the fees higher, they'd be attractive because they'd eventually have a lower price of Soon tokens.
so here's two, okay, because like it's one thing to muse on it the way we are, but you're the dev and you're trying to help your project. So this is where this information becomes useful for the community, right? The reason Meteora now has this adjustable fee rate pool where it's like, low at first, but if the volatility starts to explode, then the fee goes up. It's to disencourage wash trading and disencourage like massive movement in a bad way, right? Because it's like, well, go ahead, sir, go ahead.
No, I get it. I understand. I guess what I'm confused about is whether mine's dynamic. It's called DAMM,
It's
but
not dynamic.
yeah, the fee is set to 0.5, so it's like set that way.
But what I'm
So
saying, sorry to cut you
yeah.
off. What I'm saying is
No, go ahead.
this new pool that you could create would be absorbing more fees in times of high volatility and seeing, okay, so normally it's like this. Normally it's iFrog deploy a Soon meme coin pool and I have no interest in the project, and if I absorb a bunch of fees, I'm just going to dump them, right? Which ultimately is bad for you guys because I got more fees than I should because I hit some buttons and then I never stuck around. But you're the dev. You're not going to leave. You're not going to take those fees and just run into the sunset. You're going to leave them for all eternity because it's just racking up more. The meme coin is only worth what it's backed by. But the USDC fees that you're building are always going to be there to back the value of your project. So higher volatility times become more backing for the value of your token. And in addition to that, just that face value, it would add $100 worth of liquidity to back the value of your token because you'd put $100 in USDC.
All right. I'm getting it. So I think that makes sense. And I think what it does also that you implied and maybe didn't say, so help me confirm this, is in a situation, where someone wanted to like farm the chart or whatever, it becomes harder to do that in a situation where there's a pool that has higher fees that will eventually be involved in some of this. Like it's more attractive when you have a fixed 0.5% fee to swing trade. But then if you, or even for MEV bots or something, but if you have a higher fee pool that might be involved, then there's more deterrence for that kind of behavior. Is that right?
This is exactly correct, right? So if you rewind the clock to the OG days of meme coins on Sol, you could be like, okay, I got $1,000. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to buy this token on the dip or something. Now I'm going to make it like really interesting. I take another $1,000. I'm going to buy 1,000, sell 1,000, buy 1,000, sell 1,000. Each time I do this, I'm pumping the price 15% and lowering it 15%. And I only pay like, a penny each time I do this in Sol fees. So I can just fake volume this bad boy up and make interest. And, every time somebody buys the top and I sell and I go back in, so I'm basically just killing it with fraudulent volume and whatnot. Well, now it just went from pay a penny to do each one of those to pay 6% of my total trade. So
Okay, so yeah, agreed. I get it. This is helpful. Now, in our case, weirdly enough, I start to wonder if this GFM like purgatory thing is actually good for us, because somewhere, somehow, there are fees that you're not seeing on that Meteora front end, I think. And I don't know for sure how this works, but there's some smart contract, I think, that's involved in our token where stakers on GFM through a liquidity pool that is our staking pool, or some kind of pool that is our staking pool, there's some activity happening there. And those fees are being captured and given to stakers. So it's almost like that pool exists in our world somehow. I don't fully understand it. And if that's the case and we can figure it out, that pool might actually be giving me some kind of security, even if it's still SOL. If its fees are high enough, it still acts as a deterrent. So, like, in theory, you could look at a soon transaction and somehow identify that in the TX logs, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, the reason why I'm having trouble wrapping my head around it is I haven't looked at this GFM quote unquote staking protocol. I need to see what was happening under the hood. And it's also worth mentioning that routers like jup.ag do what they're told, but smart devs behind the scenes tell their routers, tell their bots to never use high rate liquidity pools. Right? So you could deter the degenerate with 1,000 SOL from caballing your project real quick to earn a buck and then dumping it. But I'd have to look at the behind the scene GFM staking pro. But maybe. Can I throw one more thing though? I think it's more helpful for dev.
Yeah, and also I'm just going to put the GFM staking pool address on the Jumbotron right now.
Okay, please do.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me do that because that might help.
Do those aggregators and the servers and shit, do they have to detect like a minimum volume or a minimum liquidity in these pools, like $1,000 or anything like that?
That's a great question. So this is a really great question. So first off, Meteora, before you deposit, will be like, it's not going to use the router is not going to use your pool unless there's $600. And for the record, that's just an outright lie. If that was true, none of my pools would work. So that's a great question. I just want to throw that out. Number two is, no, the only thing the router cares about, actually, no, sorry. The router can use 10 different pools at once, and it will, because Solana gas fees for swapping are just so low that even, like, if I say I'm going to swap $100 USDC for soon, right? It can take one of those dollars and go to an actual USDC pool. It can convert 80 of those dollars into SOL, and then take 20 of those dollars in SOL for one pool, 10 for another, 15 for a third. If you look at a swap under the hood, it can be like 35 pools at once because they all contained the token, but there's no minimum requirement. The only question that a router, like jup.ag for a human anyway, that when we're clicking a button, or like the phantom wallet swap function, right? The only thing that they're going to consider is it cheaper here? Will I get more of the meme for the bucks that I put in? That's the only thing it cares about. That was a good question.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, that's helpful because I have an $11 pool I'm thinking about too, but not too worried about it. But yeah, could get used. So yeah, I just put the Addy for the staking pool up there. I don't assume that's a quick study for you, Frog, but for anybody else.
I don't see it on Dex Tools. Let me go to Dexscreener.
I mean, if you go to SoulScan, you'll see it. I think it's...
I see SoulScan. I see. Yeah, it'll take me a hop out. Next time we talk, I'll let you know. But okay, let me, JD, let's get to the good thing before we close it down. Because all we've been talking about is version 2. right? Version 2, DAMM, standard liquidity. It's almost like Uniswap created an entire new protocol and called it version 3 and nobody pays attention.
I use it and V4.
Okay. Oh, you know how, bro, you got to teach me how to use hooks.
I
Please
don't use the hooks.
teach me.
I don't trust those. I do have somebody that I'll introduce you to.
Okay, I appreciate that because I'm again brilliant but lazy. I don't want to read. So, okay, so we've been talking about standard, right? If you put $200 in Sol, you got $200 in Soon. If it's 200 USDC, it's 200 in Soon. If it's 100, it's 100. If it's 50, it's 50. Well, that's kind of annoying. That's kind of a headache. Hey, maybe you just want to support your project's value with like 5,000 USDC because, like we said, Sol can go down, right? Maybe you don't want to buy $5,000 worth of Soon to do that. Maybe you don't want to deposit $5,000 worth of Soon. Maybe that's Soon you're going to pay your devs with. So what do? We go to DLMM, concentrated liquidity. You can just put whatever you want, wherever you want, with no equal amount to back it, no rhyme, no reason. So let me just show you how, before we close it
You're
down.
talking one-sided.
Go to one-sided. Go to Meteora. We're going to do it right now in real time. Super easy.
I won't, because I'm
Right?
on my phone. I won't follow the steps, but I'm with you, and I think I get it generally. Well, I understand one-sided versus two-sided generally. So
Well, I mean, that's really the easiest way to back the value of your project while, I mean, really that's it, right? So what I would do is, just as an example, we probably polish it. Okay, you got a 90K market cap coin, right? So you take like, I'm going to pull some numbers out of my butt. Take like $5,000 USDC, right? Which is a lot less than the total pool anyway. And this is all going to be to the downside. So you put your $5,000 as concentrated liquidity in between 90K market cap value, whatever the actual value that is, right? We'll just keep it market cap, 90K to 30K. So now what this basically does is two things. Okay, yes, if people decide to sell soon, they're going to get a little more money than they normally would have, right? When they sell off. But you're going to be able to absorb impact better, meaning less money will be taken from the main liquidity pool, right, than it normally would have been if they sold. Now, another thing that it'll do is it won't be redistributing the fees back in, right? It's going to keep them on the side. So you'll have USDC and Soon fees. But since you're the dev and all you care about is the project, right, you're not actually selling them off as a result. So they're just more liquidity in the end, or more coins burned, or more coins taken out of the supply. Now the fee rate will automatically be adjustable. The faster they dump, the more fee they pay, which again is totally justifiable because they're still getting a better rate than they would from the main pool if the fee gets that high. This, by the way, let's say for the sake of argument, you put this $5,000 to back it from 90 to 30 and nobody sells. In fact, more people buy and it moons to 180K market cap. Okay, well you didn't use any of your liquidity. None of your USDC got swapped for Soon. It just stayed as $5,000. So you just move it up. You create a new DLMM between 180K and 90K. This is how you purely inject backing the value of your token without actually having to I mean, you get one-sided liquidity, yes, for sure, but I think it's just easier than see, I guess here's what I don't know. How does the team feel about using your Soon when you deposit to a pool, I guess, right? Like, I'm assuming the Soon you have set aside already has a purpose and can't be like put in or something.
I mean, there's some flexibility if we have good reason, but all of this is like, it feels much more important for a project that doesn't already have such a large locked liquidity pool. I'm less worried than maybe a dev who has a smaller, like a much worse ratio of market cap to liquidity pool. In our case, because that ratio is so close to even, I guess I don't feel it would be a good use of money for this project to spend thousands of dollars, even if that money could come back. If I think of it as like an investment in the future of the project, I don't think that would be the best use of the 5,000.
Well, again, you don't actually spend it unless it's converted into soon when they sell, right?
Right, but
It
what I mean is it's locked up in a place that I can't utilize it liquidly for other purposes.
of course you can,
Oh, okay.
right? It is not locked. It is just there to be swapped for soon if people sell into that price range, but you can instantly take it out, right?
Well,
Hence,
sorry. I know I could take it out, but the point is I don't have that much capital that like I could put that there and then also have money on the side for things that I need the money for. You know what I mean? Like I know I could take it out. I just know I would have to. And I just don't see I don't feel it's a strong enough value proposition. Maybe I'm missing something, but I just don't feel like this is the purpose of all of this is two things. It's to give some sort of, I guess I was, my eyes open to just now, like this concept of deterring bad behavior of like chart farming. So I can understand like the double-sided liquidity pool doing that, or maybe a single-sided liquidity pool. I can understand that, but I guess like earlier we were talking about putting $100 into a double-sided liquidity pool. Now we're talking 5,000. It's a much bigger number. I just don't know if I want to spend that money for that reason alone. I guess I'm just not convinced it's a good use of money versus other ways I could spend the money in the near future.
oh well, touche there, right? I'm just in the weeds of pools now, but for whatever it's worth, like one day we gotta. Okay, so three quick things. One, I think soon should just start offering like liquidity pool lessons. I feel like membership that involves education there is already its own reward. Number two, um, yeah, the thing about one-sided liquidity pools, I guess this is where I wasn't thinking like about the project, right? Is that normally you use it to just catch, like it's basically the ability to short something, but if you're wrong about shorting, you don't lose. So like, when you short, you say like, I think Bitcoin's going to go down. If Bitcoin goes up, you lose all your money, right? I mean, your short is wrong and that's it. Your liquidity gets pulled. But in this case, right, you say, I think Bitcoin is going to go, or ETH is going to go down. So I put dollars in a down only range. Well, if you're wrong and ETH goes up, nothing happens. There's no penalty. So I'll tell you this little quick story on it as number three. Do you remember when the coin GROK came out on ETH? Remember that?
I don't.
So it's like right after Elon made GROK. I think it was like almost 3 years, maybe 2 years. I don't remember exactly, but yeah. So he makes GROK. It comes out meme coin on ETH. So I take an ETH. So GROK's at 100 million market cap, right? I take an ETH and I make a down only range between 100 million and 10 million. Oh, I was wrong. GROK went to 200 mil. Well, my liquidity never got used, so I just remade my range between 200 mil and 60 mil. Oh, and then GROK went to 300 mil. Okay, I just moved my liquidity range up. I moved it all the way up until it was 1.8 bill market cap. Finally, I'm right. Finally, it's like, oh, thank God, it's going to go down. So I'm like, now it's like between 1.8 billion and like 600 million. And I swear, in less than like 5 days, I had already earned 1.5 ETH fees. So there was zero penalty every time I was wrong about shorting, quote unquote, shorting it. But but there's only reward when it goes down. There's risk too, of course, blah blah blah. But I call it the shoot till you hit strategy.
Look,
Unlimited bullets.
I think this stuff is really good for somebody who's looking to find a way to invest in a liquidity pool for their own personal gain. I think it's really valuable for people to understand this stuff. And I think I love the educational aspect of all this. We could try to figure that out maybe as an offering or something. But back to as a dev of this project, this is interesting and helpful, just for me as a human in Web3. I just don't think it leads us to something I want to do for the project right now. The only thing that I find really, the main things I want to do are make sure people have an intuitive place that they can go stake or add liquidity in a way that they can get rewarded by holding their soon, a little bit more than just selling it later. I want people to get some kind of earning somehow because people expect it and ask for it. So I think we can already do that through Meteora. That might be the right solution. It might be all we got to do. We might have that one solved. And I say might only because I want, if you don't mind, Frog, your thoughts on this GFM staking pool. But as long as that doesn't blow up the plan somehow, some way, then the DAMM2, or I think it was V1, whatever it was, I have it on my computer, wherever our pool is, that pool is, safe for people to inject capital into, add liquidity, and then claim rewards. They can do it through Meteora. It's easy. I love that plan. And that solves the problem of what should, for example, an Alpha Scout do when they're given an allocation, rather than just sit on it in cold storage or wherever they have it. Why not give them the option to actually earn on that back? And so I think we've solved that problem, almost. Then the only other piece of this conversation I found interesting, or it's all interesting, but the thing that I find pertinent to the Soon project is, in the bear market, do we want a pairing other than Sol? Interesting to think about. Don't have to do it right now. And I know that for a fact, because if we have to do it right now, we're all done, right? If we go to zero tomorrow, it is what it is. It sucks for all of us, but none of us think that's happening. So I don't have to rush quickly, right now to figure out this USD pair, but it's interesting to think about. And then the third thing that I might want to do to help the project is create a new liquidity pool that helps us prevent or deter farming, because it makes it a little more expensive, not expensive for the regular investor, but a little more expensive for the swing trader to do their thing and mess with us. So I like the appeal of that a lot. And if the GFM staking pool does not already serve that purpose, then I'd come back to it. That's what I'm leaving this call with. There's 3 things, and I'll say them really simply. It's give holders a place to earn passive income with their Soon. That's number 1. Number 2 is to ensure stability through bear markets, possibly with a different pairing other than Sol. And then number 3 is to give our project protection against excessive farming, mevbot, etc.
It's one thing to point out, though, and sorry for backtracking. That is sort of the point of a one-sided down USDC liquidity pool, right? That is your non-Sol backed fund. So ironically, remember, if we used the example where Sol goes from $200 to $20, right? In that example, the irony would be that the $5,000 down USDC pool, concentrated liquidity, would be worth more than the pre-existing. So not to harp on it again, right? But that is how you do that, right? If Sol drops, Soon drops in dollar value. But that's why it's so important to have the downward liquidity USDC pool, right? Because that can catch that.
And I love it. I guess the timing is the question I have in my mind. Is that something I need to do right now? Or is it just not something I have to worry about today or this week? Because we could always do that anytime during the bull market to be prepared for the downturn.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. I mean, of all the times for me to be like, we need USDC backing in case Sol goes down, guys, because Bitcoin's not going to gorillions in the next 3 months. Yeah, we're definitely, it's a cycle top, guys. Pack it up. It's obviously going to go down tomorrow. Obviously, the next 3 months are going to be bearish, clearly.
Right. So obviously we don't have that problem. But my question was actually serious in that I don't know anything, but I believe that that is a total joke. And obviously we all believe the market's going up. But so let's assume that's really true. I still don't fully understand the timing. Like, is there some warm up type period or something that I need? Or could I literally, like, if I had a crystal ball and I know the market is going to go up until January 1st and then down on December 31st, do I just create this pool and that's fine? Or do I need to do something earlier than that?
No, I mean, that's basically it, right? Like, part of the reason, the only reason you create it early, quote unquote, is to chase it up, right? Like, you just move the barrier to whatever the current market cap is down. But no, I mean, in reality, what you said is correct, right? Like, you don't even need the crystal ball. When we get into a bear, right? Like, I'm no chart wizard, but let's just paint the obvious picture. Bitcoin goes to gorillions, aka 230K or something, and then like Jan 15th, you just see like 20% drop. And like 5 the next. It's like just obvious that we're going into a bear market. Like, yeah, at any point in those couple weeks, you'll be okay creating that pool.
Got it. Yeah. So I'm going to wait for that because, I mean, for lots of reasons. I mean, there's my personal financial reasons, and I know when those, based on my day job and stuff, like I know when I get windfalls and when I get regular paychecks. So I can, there are times in my life that I get enough of a bit of a windfall that it's kind of predictable based on equity and stuff that, I can create that pool. So I know that'll come in the future. Plus, soon grows. Like, let's, stay on the bullish side of soon. We will, as a project, eventually, I will sell some soon and make a lot of money, right? Like all of you should. And, I will want to re-inject that mostly into soon. So, like for me, like even the dev wallet, right? I'll keep loading it up. Eventually the dev is going to sell some soon, and it will do it for good reasons. And it might do it for this exact reason, like transparently. Like we'll be sitting here in a space in a morning and say, hey, well, we're getting to a point where, I've continued to populate the dev wallet with a lot of soon and some soul. And, now we're ready to, use that soul or soon or whatever, like convert it to USDC and then create this pool pairing. And here's why. And that could be like justified, right? Because soon is so valuable that we can actually all together agree that it makes sense for the dev to sell some soon and do it for those reasons. So those types of things can probably exist in this project as we approach the bear. And I think that's when we'll be in a better position to create the pool. So that's what I'm thinking. Riz, welcome back. We're going to wrap the space in a minute. Riz, feel free to jump in. I also didn't forget you. I know you won soon. And, about an hour ago, I started to move that toward you. It's got to go through a couple wallets just because I got to avoid bundles. It's so annoying, but that's how I got to pay these giveaways. So anyway, I didn't forget you. Your winning is coming, and I've just been standing here with my phone on this space as a host, afraid to do much else because I'll lose the space. But welcome back, bro. You probably would have really enjoyed this conversation. I know you're in the banking industry. We talked a lot about liquidity pools, talked a lot about, really got into the details of how like proof of stake and proof of work, how blockchains work. We talked a lot about the, verification and validation mechanisms of ETH, BTC, and a little bit of Solana. So it was a really interesting conversation, and we learned some things about how we might help the Soon project by possibly creating different liquidity pools. We also explored closely the existing liquidity pool options. So if you go to our page in Dexscreener, there are ways to claim rewards, they say. You click the claim button, you get to a Meteora page, and you can add liquidity to the liquidity pool. And that's a way to already start to earn some passive income on your Soon bag if you want to hold it for a long time. Even if you don't want to hold it for a long time. But the reality is you're only going to get peanuts if you take it right back out. So that's just my kind of recap of the day. But Riz, welcome back if you have anything to add, and then we'll just wrap up.
Yo, man, JD, thanks. Yeah, lovely conversation. I actually came back a little bit late because I just got back home from work. I'm even just having my shower right now. But, the grind never stops. We keep working it out. Lovely conversation, I must say. I should definitely listen to the recording of the space back also so I could probably learn one or two stuffs. And about the liquidity pool, that's a very, very bullish idea because when you're actually when you're bonded with the right liquidity pool on the space and the token is actually doing great numbers, it also affects your own liquidity as well. So it's a player upon player narrative, and there are lots of tokens that could probably be paired on. Yeah, even you were talking about the stables. That's so very, very bullish, using a stable to pair liquidity pool like USDC. Yeah, I'm quite bullish on that as well. And yeah, just for a suggestion, the price of gold is actually going up every blessed day. I think that should also be a good option. I think you had probably even spoken about that, gold and silver. Those are quite bullish as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are
actually,
good.
sorry to cut you off. We did talk about that yesterday, actually, in DeFi Tard. Shared
Yeah.
a real. You might have seen that DeFi Tard showed us that. Was it on Juke DeFi Tard? You found that you can actually buy
Yeah,
gold.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I remember that
Yes,
yesterday.
yes.
Yeah. Quite bullish as well. Those are actually awesome stuff. These you guys are actually doing the right work over here. I wouldn't lie, trying to actually just work for your bags and also be in the right place because a lot of people in crypto, these are part of stuff that actually change the narrative and all just by you being at the right place at the right time. So I'm glad to be here with this awesome minded people and learning and also pitching my own ideas as well.
Cool, man. Yeah, I agree with all that. We're excited to share education here and all that. And I think Frog pointed out that maybe we should charge for this stuff. It's valuable information. And DeFi Tard, I know you started to talk earlier about some of what's going on with your project, and I didn't mean to say no to that. Wanted to stay focused on the Soon piece for.
It's your project and your space, bud. I'm sorry if I chimed in like
No,
that.
no, bro. Look, you're a friend, and it's totally cool with me. And I'm genuinely sorry we didn't have an opportunity. So, I just think we got to wrap this space. But I'm glad you met Frog, and hopefully you guys can just chat individually if you need to. And hopefully you guys will be regulars in these spaces, and we can keep these conversations going and meet more Chads that know things. So, if any, I want your project to succeed. I'm a holder. I'm actually I've locked it up. I've added to liquidity pool, not locked. So, yeah, big supporter and would love to see you, be part of Soon and us work together in some way. And we've talked about that. So you're totally welcome, man. Just tried to keep the conversation focused on Soon this time, but.
Yeah. I'll send you the invite for Link Space today. He usually holds it around noon Central Standard Time if you want to hop in there or if you're available.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. Love to listen in. I got to get to my day job for a bit too. So mix that in. But anyway, appreciate you guys all for joining. As always, Riz, I'm getting your money to you right away. And I think that's it for now. Oh, the last thing I just wanted to make sure everybody knows about. If you haven't already seen it, dun, 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 I think most of you have by now, but on the Jumbotron, Wenjamin has a voice, and Wenjamin has a voice actor, and Wenjamin will be present in some of our spaces talking. We didn't get him in here today, but we will sometimes, and he might not be the sharpest one in the room. He might be. He might surprise us. I don't know. But he'll be fun to have around. And that video I just put in the Jumbotron is the reveal of his voice. So take a look at that right after the space. You can listen to it. It's about 60 seconds. I think this video, by design, does a good job summarizing the project from Wenjamin's perspective in his voice. And that was the goal of the video. So hopefully it resonates. Would love feedback. If you guys want to engage with it, you want to repost it, cool, appreciate it. But genuinely love.
I thought it was going to be an episode, to be honest. It's that good a quality, man. I thought I was watching an actual adult cartoon show.
I will definitely tell the animator you said that. He'll be so happy to hear it. He's passionate about his work. He's paid, but he's really, really passionate. So we have two animators. The one that made this will be happy to hear it. We spend a lot of time. These things don't, I'm picky about this stuff. This video probably went through 7 rounds of revisions. The content doesn't just happen. It's a lot of script writing and a lot of thinking and planning and screenshots and everything. Even inside the video, just to give you an understanding of the complexity, there's one little spot where he scrolls through the bios of the Alpha Scouts. Well, just to get there, I had to rush the web designer to get that web page done so we could have the screenshot, right? So there's all the complexity. And just to do that, I had to get all the bios from the Alpha Scouts. And I'm still chasing Megs. So why isn't she in that video? Well, cause she's traveling and dealing with hell of travel and I couldn't get her bio in time. This is all the type of shit that goes into the video. Plus the 2 different animators making 2 different Wenjamins. How do they look close enough? Blah, 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 blah. So a lot goes into these things. And, I'm happy you liked it. And the effort we put in is the reason that the production quality ended up where it is. So.
You better share that in trading space today.
All right. Will do. I will try to check my work schedule, but that should work. And then,
if you don't, I will for you.
Oh man, I appreciate that very much. And, by the way, this animator is actually waiting on Lee's script. Same guy. So you can remind Lee when he sees the video, this is the type of shit we can do, but I'm waiting on his voiceover.
All right. I'll put a big old bug in his ear for you today.
Cool. And then the last thing I'll say is, yeah, this guy is with us, right? He's just like us, aligned incentives. He's getting bags of soon to grow and he's with us for the long haul, just like the other animators. So it isn't, officially episode 1, but it's the first of many great videos around the Soon brand. And the community's more than welcome to give input on that. So if people are like, this would be a good idea for a video, just pop in the Telegram and tell me, or pull up to the space and tell us. But not now. We're going to wrap it up because, well, we all got stuff to do. I love you all. As always, we close our space with a signature. Soon is now.